What's going on, everybody? Thursday night, 8:30. Perfect night to have a nice interview with some friends, some folks, some people that I have personally met through the movement via the internet. As things have developed, I think there's been some good friendships made, and when I first started to hear about Diagalon, I heard a lot of different views, and I never really talked to Ferry or Derek about them that much. So just because I'm the kind of guy who I like to see, like I like to meet someone and judge them accordingly from there. I don't like listening to what other people have to say, as we've all seen in the last couple of years. The media, our friends, our family are very judgmental, and they're capable of saying a lot of things that aren't quite so true about people. So, with further ado, I'm going to bring Derek on here, and I'm also going to bring Ferry on here. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Ferry, hanging in there?
Yeah, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming
It's
on.
always weird when you do these things at the beginning, because like we do say hello before this. We just pretend to come on and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's this weird fucking.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to start this interview with the most painful part first for all of us. And what that is so I'm about to ask Derek to you, what is Diagalon, but don't answer yet. And I'm about to ask Ferry the same thing. But before I do that, I'm going to read off what these people who are paid by the state to create these types of ridiculous situations have to say about you. So, the Diagalon Group is a loose network of people with neo-fascist militant views, which emerged from a group of live streamers called the Plaid Army, according to the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. The Canadian Anti-Hate Network. Now, just while we're on the topic of that, the Canada Anti-Hate Network, they got in some shit today, didn't they? Did anyone read about that?
Yeah, it was beautiful to see.
Do you want to elaborate on that maybe? Because you might be a little bit better than I do with the full story. Anyone want to chime in with that?
A court case dating back 6 years, I think.
No, 2019.
2019. Okay, sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Yeah.
2019. Jonathan Kay and his mother, I believe, were accused of defamatory statements against anti-hate by saying that they were connected with a violent extremist group called Antifa. And today that was proven not to be defamatory in court. That was proven to be okay to say.
Well, I mean, let's be fair here. I mean, not that I want to be fair with anti-hate, but I mean, it wasn't proven. A judge ruled that statement was not defamatory because it's supported by evidence, right?
Well, isn't that what I said? I thought I was choosing my words carefully. I thought I said I was proven to be not defamatory.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. That's which, I mean, everybody who knows anti-hate at all has known for some time that they're literally the same. They're the propaganda wing of Antifa in Canada. I don't think that's a stretch to say that at all. They might deny that, but they work constantly with people who. I mean, look, Evan Balgord got up in front of the Emergencies Act Commission, right, and said that anti-hate is proudly anti-fascist. What does he mean by that? He means ideologically they're anti-fascist. But the problem is that Antifa as an organization claims that they're not an organization, they're an ideology. So what is the difference? How do you draw the distinction? When the same people who, fly Antifa flags, use Antifa symbolism are constantly interacting with this organization called Anti-Hate, at what point do they just become the same organization?
Yeah, very fair. I mean, okay, so moving on. So we
Am
got,
I,
we
sorry,
got,
I got to clear something up myself here. Did Evan
yeah, give
testify
her,
at the
man.
EAC? The Emergencies Act
No,
inquiry?
not the inquiry, at the commission. So this was
Okay.
the one that started back in March or April, right?
Okay. All right. I was
And
going to say,
Anti had to go, and they were somebody that testified at this commission.
and that's when Evan was testifying, say they're proud or they wear their biases on their sleeves. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you guys ever want to carry on, because you guys are good with the conversations, just go for it. So now we're going to move on to the Ferryman's toll. It's a very spooky guy here. Well, we're still on the anti shit here. So he's newer, but rising. Addition to Diagolon's network. He brought Diagalon community members together in person. Did you really? During a cross-country trip while he was relocating from Ontario to Alberta. Operates within Diagalon under the pseudonym The Ferryman's Toll. Often posing in a white ski mask, the young man, originally from rural Ottawa suburb of Metcalfe, reports crashing into the Diagalon community after seeing Mackenzie's video about the 2020 mass shooting in Nova Scotia. Educated. Go ahead.
I was just saying crashing into Diagalon.
Yeah. Educated as an architect, he now produces many of Diagolon's memes and videos pushed out via Telegram. He also hosts an unrecorded after show on Telegram that follows Mackenzie's stream. So this is the narrative that has been painted by the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, who is funded by our current government to come out with relevant stories that don't seem to be relevant at all. Would you guys like to go on that at all a little bit?
It's a smart move by the liberal leftists, or like the agenda, the globalists. It's been used in splitting up countries for centuries as propaganda. Even Chris Langdon, the smartest guy in North America, talks about it. It's about perceptrons and what you perceive. So no matter what, if you print a newspaper, somebody somewhere is going to read it, and that's just a matter. People don't realize how quickly reading material in different media becomes your reality.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You can't always control your reality either. Like, if you can only afford the basic cable package, you're forced with these certain channels being shoved down your throat all the time. If you can't afford Disney Plus or whatever it is.
Well, Chrystia Freeland says, just get rid of it now. Get rid of it and you'll be good. You save $13 a month, right?
Yeah.
And get yourself a blue check mark.
Cancel your Disney Plus subscription and clip some coupons and you'll be able to afford your mortgage.
And I am sure I'm sure that's what Chrystia Freeland does on a Sunday. She's trying to find a way to save money. So, she's clipping the coupons up and canceling programs like Disney Plus and Netflix for sure. She's really struggling, I bet.
No, she mentioned something that like one of her interns said or something like that. Somebody that wasn't making as much money that just so happened to be around her at the same time. She doesn't come up with that shit. Ferry was right when he went on his ranch. She makes $5,000 a week. A fucking week. A lot of people don't even make that in a month. How much excess money you have? Like, you wouldn't even Disney Plus. Kiss my ass.
It goes so much further beyond that, too. I mean, we're kind of getting off topic here, but does Chrystia Freeland pay for a car? Does she pay for half of her meals? Like, everything that she does is comped, right? Everything she does is everywhere she goes is, being the taxpayer splitting the bill for it. So it's like, well, yeah, and if it's not, then she's writing it off. So it's insane to me that she would say something like that. It just speaks to, again, like they're the definition of champagne socialists.
Right. And one fucking orange juice costs as much as Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So like,
exactly.
We don't live in the same world. They can't identify with us. They'll never have a working class person make it into the PM ship or whatever you want to call it to be the prime minister. It'll never fucking happen.
I agree. Couldn't agree with you anymore. So now I want to put this question to both of you because I think Diagalon has a lot of different meanings to many different people. So I kind of want to hear what Diagalon is to you, and I'll start with you, Derek. Just like in your own opinion, like you don't have to quote like what Rage would say it is or something. Just like what's Diagalon to you?
It's just a byproduct of somebody's podcast. Like Hulkamania was part of Hulk Hogan's shtick, right? He had little Hulkamaniacs running around. Fucking, it's branding. That's all Jeremy was doing, and a lot of people latched on to what he was talking about. So it's part of the lore. It's fun. It's part of the inside jokes of when you're watching the podcast, because other people would be watching and be saying, well, what the fuck is Diagalon? And try to figure out what's behind it. And it's a joke. You look at like how it was fucking created. Super diagonal country, that whole clip, like I don't know, it's just funny, and now people identify with it.
And what about you, Ferry?
Man, it's literally the definition of a meme. In particular, a successful meme. This is what happens, right? With a successful meme, it starts growing on its own into something beyond what that meme was originally. Now, the people at the Canadian Anti-Hate Network and our own government and police agencies and intelligence agencies, they've all painted this into something that is like they have created the meme as much as we have. A good way to think of this is, would Diagalon be what it is if the Canadian Anti-Hate Network hadn't tried to make it what they've tried to portray it as? They have made this meme just as much as we have. The more they feed into it, the more it just makes it funny for us that when they start talking about Diagalon as a serious entity, it makes us so that we just lean into it because it's funny. It's funny to us. So what is Diagalon? It's a lot of things. It's a collection of streamers now. But ultimately it's a meme. It always was a meme that ran way out of control in the minds of the establishment.
Yeah, makes absolute sense to me. And I could see how people get misconstrued and thrown in there. And I just wanted to give a perfect example. I had been watching you guys after Ottawa for quite some time, and, a little bit of talking back and forth. And one night I finally got to jump onto a conversation with you guys. And I think it was me, Jeremy, and Ferry. I can't remember if you were there, Derek. There was a couple of us. Anyways, we had a great conversation. We're just like a bunch of dudes shooting the shit. And I wake up the next morning, and our regional counselor, like my Twitter's all blown up, and at this point, I wasn't really going on there. And I realized there's articles being written on regional, like municipal government sites, saying that Diagalon had infiltrated Niagara, and that we're setting up a base in Niagara.
Hey,
and I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know how much I've told you guys of that story. So this is a typical critic of mine. Her name's Carrie Porter. Carrie Porter is a regional counselor in Niagara and is also a proud member of Antifa, who posts on her feed regularly that she's a member of Antifa and it's okay for her to be a part of regional council as well. So it's a very interesting world we're living in and out there. But, I realized with that experience myself that, watching this show can make you part of Diagalon. Being in this community can make you part of Diagalon. And I'm not no coward. Like, I'll wear that proud. You guys are brothers to me now. I think you guys are great people. And, one thing that was really interesting, I found when I started jumping on your streams and taking part in your satirical commenting and memes and things like that, I had people who are fighting for freedom that are like, yeah, you probably don't want to get tied up with them guys. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because they're under the government's eyes and they're making memes and shit that are out there. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like everything we're fighting against, I'm like free speech. I'm like, who are you? Like you really like the government and the newspaper and the media are making these people out to be something they're not, and you want me to cancel these people and not chill with them?
See, now
Man, you're a poser.
You've moved on to a certain phase of Zen. You see, now the people they demonize, you want to get to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like it's that you've gone into this reverse universe now where it's like, okay, whoever they're demonizing, I want to hear what they have to say. Now apply that to the people you remember that were demonized before. People like David Icke, or there's a lot that I could say, but I don't want to get you in too much trouble. But apply that lens to that to the same people.
This is it's a classic thing. I mean, it's happened to more people that just I've heard that sentiment, iterated a few times, and it's like, so you're the group of people, right, on our side, and you don't believe the media, and you think that the media is all bullshit, and you think that they lie constantly, but now all of a sudden you should believe the media and what they're saying about this group of people. That is also on your side, but has just really caught the media's ire. So now the media is right about this specific group of people. You're just turning into, you're letting them make you controlled off when you just do that. When you're afraid of associating with certain individuals or people because of what the media says about them, then you're becoming the controlled off. They're defining what you're allowed to say and do and associate with. They shape that narrative, and
it's funny to see. And a good example would be Andy Lee, reporter.
Yeah.
Calling Jeremy, oh, he's dangerous. You got to stay away. Okay, well, the same people that call him dangerous are calling you a Nazi. Am I supposed to believe them?
Yeah.
Like, you're really falling for this? Like,
I know. I actually seen that she did that, and I was disappointed. I don't really know her personally, to be sure. Sometimes I do share some of her stuff because she does have a lot of up to the date shit going on the internet.
I'm okay with being called dangerous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's talk about, now that we're on that point, why don't we talk about what got you famous? It had something to do with the truck. Or do we not want to go over it?
No, that's fine with me. Like, I've been through this a few times prior to that, so like it was lucky it happened the way it did. I was dragged through the media once before by being hit in the face with a cane by Tarek Fatah. That was fucking 2019, I think, something like that. So my name got dragged through the media then. So it's like, what the fuck? Look at how they fucking twist the story around. And it happened again when I was just talking just like this to 3 dudes saying how, you know what, fuck it, I'd like to see our own January 6th event. Fuck, like, what?
Yep.
Who cares what I want to fucking see? Like,
exactly.
I want to see one of those trucks drive right into that 16-foot wall.
We talked about this a little bit on a recent stream, and it's just like, I'd like to see a meteorite hit Parliament building while House is in session. Is that a threat?
Right?
That's a threat now. I'd like to see Godzilla rise up out of the sea and start smashing Parliament. Is that a threat? Is that a legitimate,
I would love to see God electrocute a lot of the people that are in that building right now.
Is that a legitimate threat, or something that should be taken as like a threat to national security? It's a ridiculous statement.
See George the Animal Steel rise from the dead and powerbomb Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, I would love to see Trudeau's plane go down in the middle of the Pacific tonight. Diagolon's they're gonna commit a terrorist act against Trudeau's plane. No, it's hypothetical.
I can't believe that was the one piece that they're like, we're running with this. You imagine who was watching that, where they just saw that one little bit, like, fuck it, make a whole compilation. You got to get the editors on it. We got to run this story. We're gonna get our intelligence experts to make comments on it. We're gonna fucking bring this whole narrative. Are you fucking serious?
I know.
Over a stupid little podcast where whose channel was that on? Was that Slip and Lizard's channel?
Yeah, man.
So there was probably, no offense to Slip, but 50 people watching probably. That's it.
Yeah, one of them was Tony. And then again, Tony, right? If you're not familiar with who Tony YVCE is, he's an Antifa personality on Twitter. It's an alias. This is what he does. He follows people in the freedom movement. He clips their videos. He takes stuff out of context. He tries to make them look bad. He tries to dox them, get them fired, things like that.
Cocksucker's probably watching right now.
So he's a self-admitted Antifa, and I don't know what that means, but that's what he calls himself. That's the symbolism that he uses, right? And then so he's gets this. He puts out a Twitter thread on it. Anti-hate picks it up. They get it into the media. The next thing you know, every single channel, including internationally, CNN is running that clip of Derek, right, for an offhand comment that he made in a 3.5-hour stream. This is what they do. So
that one worked. They got traction. Whatever. This is what they've been trying to do, and this one actually got traction. But the same people that are doing that are the ones that are getting sued that we talked about earlier about making shit up. This is their job. They make their own industry. They create hate, point out the hate, and cause a whole fucking. They made an economy. There's an economy off of. These guys are putting food on the table of their family members because of us, the bigot economy.
Absolutely, man.
CSIS is keeping these investigations going longer. So, you know what? We need to do more. They look a little dangerous. Why? Because it's the easiest fucking gig you've ever had. You don't have to watch beheading ISIS videos. You don't have to watch fucking Mubin lie his ass off and pretend to be a good person. You don't have to look at indigenous gangs fucking whatever the fuck they do. I don't know what they do. I don't live in an indigenous area, but
yeah. So let's talk about. We'll jump into that part quickly. I mean. I'm gonna try not to laugh, man. So, let's be real here. How the fuck does CSIS? How does CSIS end up investigating a couple of dudes shit posting on YouTube? How is that what's important in Canada right now? Is that really what kind of
what you were talking about before?
Canada?
Actually coincides with why the intelligence is looking after us. These articles they write generate a lot of shit. Like I said, no matter what, if somebody prints a newspaper, some asshole is going to read it. And because these people are government funded or government accredited or whatever it is, they've got different, they've got a resume, so to speak, that when they write these stories, eventually the news will look. We've seen it in the inquiry, how cops use these articles as evidence to go and investigate people.
Yeah.
That's
a fucking scary thought.
It's really not even that. It's exactly like what we were just saying too. Look, a good example of this is the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is right in bed with the federal government. And even if look, they received a grant at one point. We don't know if they've received additional ones since then. We know that, people that are close to the Prime Minister have donated personally. For example, Gerald Butts donated $10,000 to the Canadian Anti-Hate Network right before the convoy. This is somebody that was right in the Prime Minister's ear, still would be, and honestly probably still is. I don't know if there's any way you can, prove that, but I'm sure they still talk because they were friends. And, the only reason that he's not still in government is because of the SNC Lavallee scandal. But so this guy's donating, $10,000 to this organization, right, at the outset of the convoy. For what purpose? Why?
Yep. Right.
It's all speculation, but I think it doesn't take that much, brain power to speculate what exactly, the intent behind that was.
I think it bought them a fucking Nazi flag photo opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
These are all these, again, it's all hypothetical and speculation, right? So who knows? But it
what
goes
else
deeper
do they
than
get
that.
paid to do? To go and cover the story? To go fucking
a great example of this is the chair of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, Bernie Farber, who committed a hate hoax, was caught by Jonathan Kay doing it. Right? Basically, tried to shrug it off as, I made a simple mistake. I'm sorry. Please, bullshit. You did it on purpose. You knew exactly what you were doing. You got caught, and then you tried to deny it. But he's sitting on this. There's a panel of 12, experts advising the online safety what is it? Online Safety and Harm Reduction Act. It's part of Bill C-11 and what was Bill C-36. These people are shaping hate speech policy in Canada, and so like
I think
how did they get an ear? How did they get in Cease's ear? Because they're in the government. It's not, they have the connections. How did they get it? Like, Derek makes a comment, and then within 2 days, three members of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network have been on CTV, Global News, and CBC to talk about it. Like they have connections and they use them, and then it's an endless cycle of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network gives the media the information that they want to run a narrative the way they want to shape it, and then they keep referring back to the same information. And so it's just like this endless, circle of lies that's built on top of their previous ones.
I think what they need to do is take a look at in which the people who got funding from the federal government, what the hiring standards were, who handed out these grants, who was it? Because they already proved that one of the guys that received the same sort of funding under the same program was proved to be an anti-Semitic motherfucker. So obviously they should take a little bit more scrutiny in their hiring practices. And that being said, CSIS did mention recently that certain organizations were getting funding from China, certain MPs and whatever else. Maybe it's something to look into. Where is
absolutely.
Anti-Hate getting the money to fucking to operate?
This is another thing too, is I forget, what are they registered as in Ontario? I think an NPO, a nonprofit organization. Yeah. So we don't get to know who donates to this organization, which is like calling it an NPO is, I don't know, maybe that's a fair accreditation, but doesn't it seem a little bit shady that an openly and the very purpose of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is political in nature. And so it's a political organization that's hiding who's donating to it as it writes hit piece after hit piece about anybody who opposes their views, basically.
When did Anti-Hate come into existence?
2018 they came into existence.
2018?
Yeah.
And right off the bat, as soon as they came into existence, they started coming after us. The same people have been around doing the same thing for a while, though. Like Richard Warman goes back as far as David Icke trying to visit Canada. He was the one caught throwing stuff at David Icke. He went through a lawsuit with David Icke, like not himself throwing stuff. I think like he organized something like David Icke getting a pie in the face and his book signing and all that stuff. Bernie Farber has been around since the days of the Heritage Front.
And Bernie also got caught with that flyer, correct, in Ottawa. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? That was from a friend of a friend's son in Miami or something like that?
So in Bernie's initial tweet, he said that the photo was sent to him by a friend in Ottawa. So there was no friend's son saw the photo. No, it was nothing like that. The claim that he had in that tweet was that my friend took this photo and sent it to me. He's in Ottawa. That was the claim. Okay. And then Anti-Hate came back out and said, well, actually, no, it was just, I think at one point they said like this, and this is where it gets convoluted because they keep changing their story. At one point they said that the photo was the photo from Miami, but my friend's son saw this kind of flyer circulating in Ottawa. He saw the flyer. And then it was, well, actually, this was sent to me by a friend. And then it was a friend's son. And then it was like my friend's son's friend sent this to him, and then he sent it to me. So like it's bullshit. They tried to pull a hate hoax. They got caught, and then they lied, and then they basically created a cover story. And the reason why I know that's true, even though I can't prove that. I can't prove that they did this on purpose and then they wrote, but you know what I can? Bernie Farber was spinning up that kind of rhetoric before this came out. Remember, he went on CBC and said that the convoy was, what did he call it? The biggest display of Nazi and racist, activity in Canada in his lifetime. So like, yeah, like he was already lying about the convoy well before this flyer came out. And then, but he made an honest mistake this time, guys. That was a totally honest mistake. Whenever he said that, that his friend saw that flyer, just a mistake. Even though he was saying the exact same things on CBC before. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious mistake to be making. So, Derek, now I wanted to go to you because, like, we were talking about CSIS, and if you don't want to answer, that's cool too. But you're a pretty open guy. When did you realize when CSIS was like coming around? Because to me, that's still so wild. Like we're sitting here on YouTube and whatnot, and I understand that like you've actually had a pretty decent relationship, I think, with them.
So
is that a weird thing to say, or
it started
no?
when I guess they called me, and they call under the guise of public safety.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, if you see that on your phone, that's what it is. And they didn't actually call me. They showed up at my dad's place because they didn't know where I was, despite me having a fucking driver's license. Like, I don't know what kind of access Canadian Security Intelligence Service has, but like you couldn't have figured that out. Like my address is on my fucking. Anyways, they went to my dad asking where I was and everything because my dad doesn't fucking know where I am. I don't think he's ever visited this place, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I made a video talking about. What was it again? I forget what it was. It was right after the Emergencies Act was called. And when that happened, I disappeared. Like I was going fishing. I wrapped my phone in fucking tinfoil and just dropped off the fucking map. See ya. Right? And that's when they showed up at my fucking dad's house. Yeah. That's what was fucking creepy about that whole fucking thing. It was funny at the same time because like people that knew where I was going. I never actually said it on the phone though. Like I just dropped hints to where I was going, and so people kind of knew. And then as soon as I like turned my phone off, wrapped it in tinfoil so no signal at all. The next day they showed up at my fucking dad's house. So I don't know what to say. Is that fucking coincidence? I don't think so. That's fucking weird.
No, it just seems like they were so desperate to try and get something that's just not there. Like something that doesn't exist. Like if Ferry's meme, when the one that's like do a terror. Like yeah, there's just nothing there. And I recall, Derek, I don't know if you remember this, but I was talking to you one night and you let me know that you talked to CSIS early in the day or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know why you're talking to them. Like, who knows what they could make up or whatever. And you literally said to me, I don't care, dude. I don't have anything to hide. So why would I not
doing
talk to
anything
them?
wrong? Like,
I'm trying to give like
I'm not. Well, no, I'm just reenacting basically. Like I have nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like I was asking them stupid questions. They got to think I'm an idiot probably. I was asking them if Bigfoot was real. Like I don't want to give you guys anything unless you tell me about Bigfoot. That's my fucking. Like you don't want a coffee or anything? No, you sent me to the wrong Tim Hortons. You did a location switch. I brought my own coffee now. Like you don't want a donut? No, Bigfoot.
So now on the same topic of all this, we got CSIS is here talking to you, and they're talking to other people who are jumping on these live streams and whatnot. Yeah. And then you got Jeremy, who's like reaching out to them. Am I right? And saying like, hey guys, I will tell you anything you want to know. You have nothing to be worried about. You guys want to pop by and talk to me? Come on by. I want to put your mind at ease. There's
I find that weird why they wouldn't. There's obviously, I would think that there was probably an open investigation on him by other people that maybe a different agency that was trying that make it so they can't go and interview him. You know what I mean? It's probably the RCMP were trying to set him up and had him under a different jurisdiction or some bullshit. I don't know.
Or if they go and interview him and he just does a good job and looks like a normal dude and like he does that ruin their credibility of trying to tie him to doing something extreme and they need to keep a boogeyman?
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously got warrants to be all over everybody's shit. If you put anything out on the internet, private message or anything, you're an idiot. Plain and simple. I'm sorry. I'm just like, so we all know that. We've all discussed that. Like, if you put anything out there in a fucking private Telegram group, it's out there. They have it. They have warrants for our shit.
Yeah. So what? I think the best way to describe what happened there with CSIS, look, the inquiry has been very revealing on this topic, because we've seen what the OPP had. We've seen what, the RCMP had. We've seen what CSIS had, right? These documents have all come out now. If you look at what was written in those documents, Jeremy was questioned on a few of the things, right? What was there? Like, really, what was in those documents that made you go like, oh shit, these guys are a threat to national security?
These media assholes keep coming up with the same one little sentence out of an ITAX fucking report that was supposed to be, I don't know, 28 pages long or something like that. But they keep referencing one sentence, like, oh, you got to see this. And it's the propaganda machine trying to build something up. It's just not fucking there.
It's a classic situation of the tail wagging the dog here. What happened is that the media portrayed us as being something that we're not. The government believed the media and didn't refer to their actual intelligence agencies and the police and things like this to verify that information. And if they did, the information that they got from the police was just, as we saw, them repeating what the media had said, and what the media had said all came from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which has like a personal grudge and this desire to paint us as being something we're not, because that's how they make money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, also, it's very political motivated. The contents of the subjects they discuss in regards to you guys, or I guess me too, Diagalon, it's they're right up in bed with the Liberal government. We all know that.
Exactly. So you have the reason that CSIS, especially after the convoy, because as far as I know, before the convoy, nobody that was affiliated with this community was talking to CSIS. Now there could have been some that I don't know, but I'm saying since the end of the convoy, I know dozens and maybe hundreds of people that were approached by CSIS or other intelligence agencies, right? Like RCMP and things like this. Why? Because they were trying to find the thing that they used to justify the Emergency Measures Act after the fact. That's what they were doing. They were looking for the evidence that they needed to justify what they did, because we were the reason. I think we've seen this over and over. I mean, Rob, I don't know who else is viewing this, but if you haven't seen the video, where 8 to 10 different MPs and senators, talk about Diagalon and call us all kinds of things that we're not. That's what they're debating. They're debating the Emergency Measures Act and using Diagalon as the justification for it. If it wasn't the reason, it was a huge part of what they used to justify it. And now they don't have the evidence they need to support that. It doesn't meet the threshold that they need. So they're scrambling and they can't find it. And that's why in this EMA inquiry, you're not hearing anything that justifies it, because the reason they had to justify the Emergency Measures Act was Diagalon, plain and simple.
Today, for anyone who didn't see, the Ontario Deputy Solicitor General testified that he has not seen concerning physical violence during the Freedom Convoy today. So that's the Ontario Deputy Solicitor General. So this is all coming back on our little buddy Fancy Socks there at this point in time. There and I'm
fuckface.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. I don't need to hide that. But yeah, it's we seen what happened at the start, right? Everyone was just doing this. I think Ferry had some good memes out with the Spider-Mans. It's oh, it's OPS's fault. Oh, it's OPP's fault. Oh, it's the RCMP's fault. They're all just playing this fucking game with each other where they're going around in a vicious circle, and they're all just trying to pass the buck to somebody else.
I think Ferryman said it good the other night, is that they threw a fucking dart and they're like, yep, that's it. Call the Emergencies Act. And now they're trying to draw a target around the fucking dart they threw.
Yeah.
And a very telling story to that, Derek. I seen you cover it the other night on Plaid Army. You mentioned the fact that CSIS had maybe been doing a little bit of a better job than we thought, and they had a report that they gave out to the government stating that they don't want them to invoke the Emergencies Act because they think that that's going to have more people become anti-government and have more people want to become violent. And I agree with that report wholeheartedly. When you line up all those police officers to come with brute force at peaceful Canadians, well, yeah, a lot of people are going to get upset with the system. Do you guys feel the same?
Well, I know Jeremy has been hard on CSIS before, but that's what he does, right? I actually give them a little bit of credit in this case because we have, from what we've seen and heard from their investigation so far, they're being honest. And the politicians have gone against what the intelligence agency has said. So, yeah, I like to shit on CSIS too because it's fucking fun and it's an easy target. But I got to give them credit in some of the documents I've seen them put out.
I think Jeremy nailed this, shortly after everything was broken up with the convoy too, is here's what happened, right? Like, I don't think it takes a genius to figure this out. Somebody towards the top, maybe the tippy top itself, PMJT or Mental Marco or Bill Blair, somebody way up there said this needs to stop, make it stop. I don't care how you do it. Find a way to make this stop. And so somebody just like, here's what we're going to do, right? So somebody without a conscience and, without any sense of morality just said, I know how to do it. And then they did it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, people don't understand about CSIS is that they don't prosecute, they don't arrest, they don't all they do is gather intel and they give those packages to the powers that be. That's all they fucking do. They don't have powers like the CIA or the fucking DEA or whoever the fuck else. They don't even operate outside of Canada. They're not supposed to. It's all about what's going on. That's their mandate inside Canada. And that's what I did get from the interviews I did with CSIS. It's almost like they're trying to tell you what they're allowed to do and what they can do. It's like, it's not our fault, dude. Like, look elsewhere. Like, all we do is gather intelligence. That's it. And from what I've seen, from what they've gathered, they see it too. They see it's bullshit. They see the bullshit narrative that other agencies are coming up with. Do they get their chance to speak? No. I was aware of this Chinese thing. I've talked about it with the agent that handles me, I guess. Do I have a handler? Is that what it is? Is that what we call them? Fuck. I don't know. The fucking connect that I have talked to me about, like, hey, look, it's good. We're identifying this, the Chinese influence. And that was a while ago. And it has been brought up in the media. It's up to the media to bring it more forth, right? Like, now what happens? Now who takes care of it? CSIS has told the media is fucking brought it out there. Now who lays the charges? Now who looks into this? Is it going to be Brenda fucking Lucky, the one who's under investigation herself? I think she's a little preoccupied. Right? So where does it go from there?
I can't wait until the day we get to see those people go on the stand. Because, like, I'll be honest, I know we don't. Is
she going on the stand? Is Lucky going on the stand?
Man, if she doesn't, show. it's gonna be a telling story. She's supposed to testify, and if she doesn't,
I can see her doing it. She's fucking.
Dude, there's no excuse. Like, Derek and I have talked about this on our streams a bunch of times. Derek doesn't think that Justin is going to testify. I think he will. I think he has to.
He has to, because if he doesn't, it's going to be like, all right, let's get in the trucks and drive to Ottawa. And I'm not saying that that's like what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying I think that's where the temperature of this country's at right now.
I'm seeing people.
There's no way that guy's going to testify. There's no way.
If he doesn't, which it's absurd if he doesn't. But if he doesn't, then he has to go, I'm not testifying because it wasn't my decision. Whose decision was it then, Just? You're in charge. Yeah. Are you not? It was. Here's what we know.
Parliamentary privilege. Now that Doug Ford's gotten away with it, he's gonna get away with it too. I'm just saying that's
No way.
that's my fucking. You're not gonna be
There's
able to hold the
no
leader
way.
of a country accountable. You're not gonna be able to put him on the stand and fucking question him because he's gonna say, "That it's a matter of national security. If you ask me a question and you make me look bad, the Russians might invade."
I hope that he doesn't, because that's going to be probably the most damning, evidence that you could possibly have, is just that he's like, no, I won't do it. It's like, okay, well then you're guilty, man. You are fucking
Okay,
guilty.
okay, all right. And that happens, then what?
I don't know. I'm just not. I know you're right. Nothing happens, obviously, because nothing ever happens in this country to people who actually deserve to face justice. But yeah, that's fair. But again, like, the point is, where did this decision ultimately come from? Cabinet. That's it. It has to come from cabinet of some kind, right? Whether it was, like I said, Bill Blair or Marco Mendocino or Christian Freeland or Justin Trudeau. Like, it's those are the four. Those are the only four that you would think could be making these kinds of decisions. And I don't understand how they can not testify. They have questions that need to be answered, particularly Mendocino and Trudeau, I would say. But
okay, so we have to look at the only thing that happened, though. What's the only thing that changed when they called the Emergencies Act? Yeah, everybody got dispersed. They were kind of deciding to do that on their own once they saw a little bit of violence and whatnot. But what's the only thing that happened? It was how they could freeze your bank account, right? So now, if the Emergencies Act, let's say, well, you know what, guys? We decide Diagalon is guilty. Fuck them. They're now a terrorist organization, and we're going to freeze their bank accounts. What would anybody do? Would they do anything?
I don't care. I still think Diagalon being declared a terrorist organization in Canada,
it's still a win.
That's my goalpost for victory. If they do that, I declare total Diagalon victory. Like, that would be hilarious to me.
Yeah, it doesn't get much funnier than that. When
I can just see us living inside a fucking homemade shelter in the fucking woods, freezing our ass up. I fucking won. I fucking won.
I
won. Fuck these motherfuckers. I won.
It's weird. It's weird, right? It's like if I were get sent to jail for memes, it's like total win. Sitting in the jail cell, like, I fucking won. You put me in jail for memes, bitch.
You made me famous.
Oh man, that's so good. 1 second here.
Anyways.
You looking at the chat there? It's been a little while. You keeping up there?
Keeping up?
Yeah.
No, I wanted to read a couple testimonies that were sent in. So I think that's cool. Testimonies. So
what kind of testimonies is like
this is from people who are a part of Diagalon. A little bit more on the moving side. Nice ones, Derek. Fire up a nice joint and just relax and listen to what people have to say about you nice folks.
Fair enough.
I stand with Jeremy. For the past 2 decades, I watched in horror as our culture lost direction and turned against our heritage as peace-loving humans. The past 2 years was a nightmare, as suddenly my friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers were wishing death on others who disagree with them about disease and drugs. Jeremy McKenzie and the fictional meme nation of Diagalon restored my faith in our people. We were indeed all raised to mind our own business, support bodily autonomy, and resist tyranny. Diagalon is simply a reminder, since a lot of Canadians forgot, and in the past month, Jeremy proves that we are the majority. We are Canadian. Pretty good testimony. Then one more we got here.
Where were these sent to, Rob? Were these people that sent it to you?
No, I grabbed these off of Diagalon's website.
Oh, okay.
I stand with you, Jeremy. I've been watching what is unfolding. I thought I have been alone for such a long time. I've lost my marriage, but I fight on. Watching the courage you were showing is remarkable. I only wish is that my brother-in-law would wake up. He is ex-military and is so asleep. He honestly thinks this is a terrorist thing. Please, if there's anyone who can help, I've tried to, no success. I'm trying to wait it out, but it's getting harder every day. Thank you, Jeremy, for giving courage and hope in Canada. So those are a couple nice testimonies, and I wanted to add to that. When I found you guys on the internet, I don't even think I realized that I was looking for friends, and that all of my friends had kind of abandoned me because of all this crap that's just gone on, all this division, like this play that everyone's had. And I just started tuning into your shit on here. I was watching Jeremy, and I was watching Plaid Army. I found out about, I started watching that. And then I just started watching other shows that people had in Diagalon. And I picked up really quick. Like, this was a group of people who know they've been forgotten about, that don't have like public officials taking care of them, don't have doctors that would want to take care of them. They're literally banned from existing in society, and they've formed this like community, whether it be on the internet, whether people are meeting up in person, and they talk to each other. And I don't think there's enough credit that goes out there to Diagalon for all the nice things that happen in this huge community that it's built. So I don't know if you guys want to go on about that a little bit, or
we've done
what
quite
you
a
think
few
about it.
We've done quite a few fundraisers for the people in our community. We've raised money to help people that have been looking for groceries or pay their electric bill, or however a community can be used. We feel for each other. A lot of people lost their jobs when this happening, and a lot of people found jobs through the community. People got together. They went to spaces. I guess you could call them right-wing safe spaces, where you can go to a place where you can just openly discuss stuff and not feel judged or fucking looked down upon or anything. That might be a stupid way to describe it, but that's almost what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want the truth as to why, the establishment views this thing that's got we've all got going on here as a threat, is because it is a threat to them, not in the violent sense. That would be great to them, to be perfectly honest. Like, they would love a real violent boogeyman that they could point to and use as a justification to do all kinds of crazy shit. And they tried to paint us as being that. The reason that Diagalon is a threat to the establishment is because it's offering people an alternative to the establishment, in terms of a sense of community, right? Like, we're literally creating our own, culture, that's runs parallel to theirs, and parallel economies too. Like Derek touched on this. Like, if you want a job, just ask around in the groups, you'll find one. If you need help, ask around in the groups, you'll get it. Like, and if whatever you put into it too, it gets paid back, right? Like, that's how you get stuff out of this community, or you get what this community has to offer, is by actually taking part in it. So, I think it's very funny that, the CSIS investigation and RCMP really began in earnest, as far as we know, when Jeremy told people to start meeting each other in person. That's when they became afraid of it.
I'm aware of earlier. They told me 2 years prior to my first altercation, they were watching us because that's what they do. And for the most part in the investigation, they just said these guys are nothing. It was when when we actually started to meet each other, they started to pay more attention.
Yes. So
yeah,
they were
watching us for a while.
They're afraid of people not giving a fuck what the system is telling them to do, and actually, getting together and organizing outside of it. That scares the shit out of them. It terrifies them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just agreeing with Ferry. Yeah.
And so, like, what Jeremy did effectively was take his podcast audience, which is, tens of thousands of people, because the numbers don't do it justice, right? There's way more people viewing his stuff than even his numbers. And I know this because I've seen it. There's 3 people watching it together, 4 people watching it together, goes on and on. Friends who don't even necessarily really watch often, but are paying attention. Like, he created a network of tens of thousands of people that basically had an attitude of "fuck you, make me," and that's terrifying to the government. That doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it was violent, or that the intent of this community was ever to be violent. All he did was say, "Go meet each other, find your friend," and that scared the shit out of them.
And I mean, in my opinion, not that I know that this has anything to do with Diagalon, but with the things that we've seen gone on in the world over the past couple of years, and in the overreach, in the police brutality, this is just my opinion. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a group of friends that you could stand on defense with when people are coming after you, if they ever do on offense. Like, that's my opinion, but you know what I mean? Like, people, like, I don't know what they think anymore.
That depends
man.
on what your definition of defense and offense is. It is not illegal to have a militia in Canada, but it is illegal to train as a militia.
Yeah, well, that's silly. Who's going to do that, right? But you know what yeah.
It's like saying you can have a hockey team, but you can't ever lace up your skates and go on the ice.
You guys aren't allowed to practice. People can get hurt that way.
Yeah.
I was more insinuating that if it came down to the point where they're like, we're at your house and we're going to grab you and jab you, that all of a sudden a couple hundred of us would be there and be like, yo, we're just chilling here. We're cool. And you ain't grabbing any of us. We're not getting jabbed.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if guns were involved or not. People would come down to that sort of tribalism to like, make a fucking circle with cars and hold them off with hockey sticks like spears.
Yeah.
At that point,
this is another thing too, that the media, and particularly anti-hate, has tried to, they've tried to use some of the what would you call it? I would call it heated defensive rhetoric that has been used by people in this community, which is basically the fuck around and find out attitude of, like, if you really want to push this to where it seems like you want to push this, then we're not like, fine, we'll go there, but like, don't expect us to just lie down and take it. Like, that's not going to happen. And so they misconstrued that, on purpose, and they conflated that with us wanting that to happen, right? And so, like, a perfect example of this is back in about a year ago, Randy Hillier and Max Bernier were going to give a speech at Ryerson, right? And there was a bunch of leftist groups that were threatening to shut down the event. And they were threatening all kinds of things, violence, eggings, like all different kinds of shit, right? And so we responded to that by, okay, get ready. Like, we're not going to not have this event. We're not going to let you shut this event down. This event is about free speech, right? That's what it was. Like, are they allowed to talk? Yes. Do you have the right to just shut someone up because you don't like them? No. So we're not going to let you do that. So, like, we had a bit of a pushback. It's like, hey, you want to come fuck around? You'll find out. Like, get ready, boys. Like, get your gear on. And if they come and they want to fuck around, then be ready to fuck back. And then that got smeared everywhere as being, oh, we're planning violence at this event. And it's like, fuck, like this is what they always do. They literally threaten violence. They threaten to shut down people who are just trying to have a peaceful assembly, right? Because they don't like them. And then it's the typical, they cry out as they strike you. So it's like they're basically threatening you. And then if you say, we will defend ourselves, they go, see, look at the violence. They're violent. They're going to do violence because, like, look at what they said. It's like, you said it first.
Yeah,
we're not just going to let you push us around constantly like this. And so, like, they create this defensive attitude as being, they're inherently violent. It's like, I've used this analogy before too. This is what these people do. They flick you in the nose. They flick you in the nose. They flick you in the nose. They do it over and over and over again. And then if you ever punch back, they go, they're violent.
Yeah.
It's
a perfect analogy. Yeah.
It's like, you stop flicking me in the nose and I won't punch you in the face. How about that?
You got to break the finger. then they can't flick anymore, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're working on a documentary right now. Me, Edgy, and Greg Wyclef all together.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's got some talent in it for sure. I can't wait to see that.
it would be nice if people could donate towards it. We may find some, not that we want to put it behind a paywall or anything like that. We want it to be free and out there for everybody, but I also want to see Edgy make the money he deserves for editing and the amount of work he's put into it. He's
Absolutely,
done,
man.
and he does great work, to be honest with you. I like picking on the guy because it's fun, but I only do that to like guys I like, and he's a fucking phenomenal editor. His research is off the hook. Like, yeah, I'd like to see him get more money than what he deserves. There should be a tip jar somewhere for that, for the release of that anyway.
Yeah,
Something like
I would
that,
call
yeah.
out for it. I would call out for it right now, but I think I got some plans with asking for something else at the end of this. Where else do we want to go? You guys got anything else on your mind right now? I'm trying to think of what else I had for you.
What else happened today? There's
The only thing I would add to, I would just add to what I was just saying, which is, Diagalon is not a violent organization inherently. It never was. I think what gets lost a lot of the time now is that when we look back on what happened over the last 2 years, like people forget, right? Like the fears that people had of like, you say like, if you use this example, Rob, like if they start showing up at doors and saying like, we're jabbing you, like people forget that like, that was not an irrational fear. Like there was people discussing that, like mandatory vaccinations. There's people that remember whenever CTV was saying like, should the unvaccinated, like polling people to see if the unvaccinated should be put in prison, talking about taxing the unvaccinated. Like the rhetoric that they had was like, it fit perfectly on the 10 stages of genocide, right? Like over those 2 years, like the level of vitriol that was being espoused by the establishment was to the point where like, yeah, I know they thought you were crazy if you were talking about like, well, I'm not going to take that. Like, show up in my house and like click clack, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not going along with this. And then they've used that rhetoric now as like, we'll see, like they're violent. It's like, no, man, you were threatening our kids, you were threatening our families, you were basically threatening our to fire us, ban us, put us in camps. Like all of these things were like veiled threats that you held over us. And then, people responded to that, I think entirely appropriately. And now you're saying, oh, they're violent. It's like, you're violent. Everything you do is at the threat of violence. What's the Dave Chappelle line? Taking a man's job is akin to taking a man's life. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they did to people.
I agree 100%. Like I think they're the accelerationist in my eyes. You take away education from a child, they have no structure, they can't play sports, they couldn't play at parks, you're trying to put masks on their head. Everything they have done is fucking insane. And our children are suffering big time. Big time.
And now they want to do it again. Like the same rhetoric is being espoused again, right? It's amazing to me how much people are like, well, they're not going to do it again. I mean, more people are wise to it now than they were before, but it's like, the average normie who's like, who started waking up, right? Who realized that something was seriously wrong, was like, okay, enough of this shit, has very quickly gone back to this, sense of, lulled sense of, safety or whatever you want to call it. Like they're not worried. And I see the exact same rhetoric they've used the past 2 years building up again. And it's like, don't be shocked whenever they bring back mask mandates and vax passes. And if you don't have, 3 shots, that you're not vaccinated, right? Like they're going to do it. Derek cleaned his camera and it looks so much better.
Is it? Is that all it was?
Yeah, that's all it was.
Man. I was actually thinking, man, we all got to chip in $5 each and get Derek a nice.
Somebody fucking said that on the chat, and I'm like, fuck, I'll just do it while these guys are talking. Come on.
Oh yeah,
don't
man.
tell me
you're like high def now.
Come on. Hey, I see the queens there in the chat.
Yeah.
Momo,
Queen.
what's up? Come on, it's not.
Morgan?
It's not just the fucking. That's all it took, was it?
Queen, if you want to come here, come on. I know you're busy and got a lot of things going on, or else I would have definitely reached out to you. So I didn't want to put too much pressure on you, but you're always welcome. What else did I want to do here? You know what I wanted to
laughing. Everybody can
laughing
fucking see me. It's fucking hilarious.
They're like, yeah, I know. Why don't we?
Dude, I thought my internet was shit. Like, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It's just fucking bad. I don't know. I've been blowing fucking pot smoke on it for 40 years. It's just got fucking.
Oh man. Okay, now that we've covered all these good stories and heartfelt stories, so like, yeah, I really something really opened my eyes. Did I tell you about the James Top event yet, or no?
No.
I went to James Top event in Toronto, and this gentleman came up to me, and he's like, "Oh, hey Rob, how's it going? I know you." And I go, "Oh, really?" Because I didn't recognize him. He goes, "Yeah," and then he goes, "I'm one of these guys," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I started talking with him and whatever. One of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life before, man. But like he kept, obviously I'm not going to say his name. I know who it is now, but like he let me in on his life secret, and he was a member of the armed forces too, and he was pretty disappointed with some things that were going on, and was really struggling, and told me about how much the community of Diagalon helped him out, and made him realize, you know, there are people out there for him still, you know, because a lot of us are seeing doctors not there for us, counselors not there for you if you need to talk to someone, all these resources that should be available to people. Well, they're on the fucking back burner, you know, for the most part.
No, people don't feel lost if you don't have those resources. Reach out to the community groups in Diagalon on Telegram, and you can find those services. You can find stuff like Ezra Wellness. If you're worried about not being vaccinated and looking for help, or for honest doctor's help, not just somebody that reads a program, says you got this, you know, does health through a chart. You want somebody that wants to help with your medicine. Also, like I said, with jobs as well, but reach out. If you're getting denied services, you don't have to feel lost. There's lots of people in this community that can help you. I'm going to grab more to drink. We're going over just over an hour here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you do that. We won't be too much longer.
Yep.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, I know there's a lot of people on here who already know, but when I didn't know Jeremy that good, and now I feel like I know him pretty good, and we were talking pretty often before this unfortunately happened to him. Can you give like a brief description of who Jeremy is? I know Jeremy's a father. Jeremy loves Morgan. They got a pretty adorable relationship. Loves Canadians, clearly. He loves veterans. He's a loud voice. I've been an activist for quite some time now, and he's like activist times 100. So that's when I really started liking him. So yeah, just give us a little taste of that.
I don't know. They're like Jeremy wore a lot of hats. I think the most important one, particularly recently, was that, like, look, Jeremy was really good at what he did, or he is good at what he does, right?
Yeah.
Even the EMA inquiry here, right? We're calling that unofficially Ragecast 281, right? And like, look at how he carried himself in that situation. You know, it's under horrible conditions. He's not had exactly a great, you know, time in custody, and you know.
No.
That was not a fun experience for him, right? But he presented himself well. He acquitted himself well, and as well as he could have, really. The reason that he is where he is because of what he was doing as a voice for average Canadians. That's what landed him where he is, because he's really good at it, and he was not afraid to pull punches when it comes to you know, going after certain people. And it goes on and on. Like,
We solidified proof from the weekend there when a young lady got into a fight with a young Somali lady. Shit broke out. I only seen the end of the video, but there was stabbing involved. She got bail on manslaughter. Jeremy's charges are significantly smaller and less aggressive than this, and to be honest with you, not true. We have better witnesses that are just telling the truth. Once this all unfolds and once it all happens, you guys will see the truth. But
Absolutely, and it's so hard.
you can't
we
tell me
always
that
have to-
you can't tell me that he's not being held because of some sort of outer influence. If they're letting people like Miles Sanderson out on bail, how many different times?
59 convictions.
Yeah.
And he was wanted, right?
And I think a big part of it is because Jeremy's so true to his beliefs and his core values. And as much as I hate to see what he was going through in jail, like I love just he's a badass. Like he didn't want to take the PCR test. Like it's just I would have been the same way, man. Like and bless him for that. But he just has that voice that you can't shut up. Like you can't scare him. I think the only thing that would ever scare him is losing free speech, so he'll fight for it at all costs. Is that probably fair to say?
Yeah, I would agree with that, and you're right. You know why Jeremy developed such a loyal, fan base and community? Why people are willing to go out of their way to raise money for him? Because unlike most internet personalities, what you see is what you get. Like if you've never met Jeremy in person, you might not realize this, but who you saw on stream is exactly who Jeremy is. Now it's hammed up, like that's Jeremy at like 100%, like just full, but like that's who he is. He was always honest, with how he portrayed himself, and you're right. Like he just said he has done a lot of damage to himself simply by not willing to, pull punches on certain people. He could have, like he talked about this all the time. He could have toned certain rhetoric down. He could have avoided, attacking certain people. Like there's a reason why he gets hate from all sides. A lot of conservative, CPC fanboys hate him, right? Why? Because he's not afraid to criticize Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives.
Yeah.
Like he gets hate from all over. Why? Because he's not an ideologue. That's what's really interesting about Jeremy. He's not pushing an ideology. He's just saying what he actually believes on any given topic. And so he's honest. What you see is what you get. Like that is Jeremy.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He's exactly what you see. I would say the same with Ferryman as well. He's no different. Everybody's being themselves here. It's not an act. There's no taking segments or making sure that we have the right video, like taking 100 takes like Rachel does for fucking TikTok videos. You know what I mean? There's none of that. Just being fucking real dudes joking about the shit. And that's what Jeremy was.
There's no stick, right?
Like, I think Jeremy's getting out next week. I
think that would be a fair assessment.
I think so.
Probably with a bunch of ridiculous conditions now, but
I think it was just a mistake in who his lawyer was at first. His lawyer bent over and took it in the ass, enjoyed it, and didn't know what he was up against. So
his lawyer that he just had up looked real good, real polished, real young. He looked really good, and I think I really like how he
make a name for himself.
I think how he did a fantastic job ending his consultation with Jeremy there when he ended it off by saying, he goes, and you have how many criminal charges? None. And you don't have bail right now? Like, that's pretty telling for all of Canada to watch. You know what I mean?
That was fantastic. Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, I saw this as nothing is good. Like, That's
Like,
all I
even
saw by watching Jeremy. It was nothing but good things being said. And the global news coverage of Jeremy's testimony there, 100,000 views last time I checked it.
yeah.
It was
The-
widely watched this.
One of the interesting things here too is that, you know, if people deny that Jeremy is being tried for political reasons, like they say that, you know, like it's totally normal. They're just, you know, upholding justice. Like that's totally what's going on. Bullshit. You know how we all know that's a lie? Because he didn't get bail. Anybody else would have got bail if they weren't who he is, right?
100%.
So like even if you don't buy that he was charged for political reasons, you can't deny that he's being held for political reasons without bail. That's just true.
The Canada-wide warrant is the fucking telltale sign.
Yeah,
there. Thank you, Lee Stewie, for bringing that up. And also, it's her birthday when Jeremy goes for his bail review, so that's interesting as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good luck charm.
But a Canada-wide warrant is fucking ridiculous. That's hard to get. That is something you got to bring up to the Supreme Court, and I think a few people have to approve it, don't they? That's not just like Canada-wide's a fucking big fucking thing.
Yeah, they usually only use that for like real serious things.
Did
I
Miles
asked a
Sanderson
couple-
have one? Did Gabriel Wortman have one? Not that they needed it, but like, just seems fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nobody was hurt. There's obviously no victims of this crime. Nothing provable. And they just throw him behind bars. Fuck you. Get back there. Dry cell for a fucking week.
Yeah,
That sucks, by the way. That's like being in a Mexican jail.
yeah, that's the worst. And that's what they try and do. They try and break you, right? Like they're trying to break him, and he's clearly built for that. And I think that there's a reason he's in there, and that's just the way I think, because he's strong enough to deal with this and go through this, and he is our dude to fight.
Dude, it makes him
straight up.
cooler. I don't care what anybody fucking says. Makes him fucking cooler.
Yeah,
Going to
man.
jail, doing some time. Like, that's a wicked story, dude. No matter who you are. You went to fucking fought in Afghanistan. Then you come back. You went to jail. Who knows what he's going to do next, man? The fucking story's open for interpretation.
I
Everybody
know,
should
right?
write their
It's
own
like,
comic books to see where it goes from here. Who knows? Does he go into politics? Does he? Or what happens after this?
yeah,
Or
we'll have
what
to
else
see.
do
All
you
these
do? Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's only criminals and people that have been painted as bad shit that get into it in the first place. So it's right up his fucking alley. Let's do it. Why not? Right? Like, what else are you gonna do after this infamy? Nah, it's because of these guys. They did a fucking bad guys. We gotta call the Emergencies Act. Oh no, you didn't. Turns out he's innocent. Turns out the shit's made up. Oh fuck. Now what? Now he's still alive and he's still fucking making content. Protect this man at all costs, ladies and gentlemen.
I got one thing that it's been brought up a couple times by Nika Elliott in the chat here, and so Rob, you clipped that. As far as I know, you were the first one that clipped that video. Was it yesterday of the Coots mayor?
Yep.
Yeah, it's talking where he says the guns are fake.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, so
that was taken kind of out of context, wasn't it? I know.
Yeah, so it was taken out of context with the respects that he actually did make that error, and I posted it. And then what happened is, after he was done his whole spiel, like an hour later, the commission was like, so when you said earlier that the guns were fake, were you talking about what they told you? And then he's like, yeah, I meant what they told me. So like, yes, it was out of context, but it was like, I didn't put it in there out of context.
I know. Yeah, no, I knew that. I was just saying,
he actually made the mistake, but he didn't correct himself. But then the commission went and questioned him about an hour later about it. And I was like, man, if he doesn't get corrected, if that's not the case, this is going to be interesting, because he just said that on the record, you know?
Interesting.
It was very interesting. And it was
but it was the way he was describing. The guy's a bit of a bumbling
Yeah.
Idiot. Like,
We went off on this guy last night. I don't know if you saw it. That guy's a fucking moron.
Yeah, I'm always watching you
Classic.
guys, but I mean, he went on at man. At one point, he goes on about how this is his neighbor. These are our farmers. This is the grocery store clerk. Well, then why the fuck did you say they were domestic terrorists an hour ago? You clown.
yeah, he doesn't know what he's fucking doing. Like, give that
Dude.
guy cognitive tests. Like,
I think Global News ran that story today.
Really?
I wish I had clipped this, but it was something like Mayor of Coots accuses Jason Kenney of allowing, quote, domestic terrorists to have free reign. It's like, you're such a hack organization, Global News. Did you include the part where the mayor of Coots was like, well, I looked up the definition on Google, and Google said that domestic terrorists are this, and I thought that fit.
that was awesome. I did fucking. I sent you in the private chat and also on Telegram there, Rob, my apology that you asked for.
Oh, did you? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I got it. The private chat here. Okay, perfect. So I just got to open this up in a.
That was funny because I was mortified. It was like 1 a.m. I had to work the next day, and they're telling me, "Fucking, dude, you're on CNN. Like, you're on Global. You're on CTV. You're on CBC. You're on fucking everything." Like, what are you talking about? And I got to kind of shake off the grogginess. I think I just did a stream. Didn't we just? It wasn't
I'll never forget. I was on my way to Ottawa, and we were kind of listening to Jeremy's stream because it was like in and out, right? And then I'll never forget it where he's like, "Oh, Derek, no."
That's right. It was Jeremy's stream that was streaming that night, and I was going to bed after that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that happened on the stream. I watched it afterwards.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, so I mean, the one thing that was really good I did notice about Derek is after he said that about the truck crashing through the building, and that caused a lot of grief and some disappointment amongst people. Clearly he had a change of heart, and he did come out and post this video. So we'll play this video to kind of clear the air in what his actual his actual intentions were.
Those rights and freedoms are at stake. So you guys are honestly true heroes.
The convoy has caught the attention of this group of self-described Canadian bigots. We're thinking about going to Ottawa. Banking. Ha! One calling for an attack on Parliament Hill like last year's assault on the U.S. Capitol.
I would like to see our own January 6th event. See some of those truckers plow right through that 16-foot wall. None of us, of course. I just
The vaccine man.
Hello, my name is Derek Rants. I was featured recently on a CTV newsreel about the truck convoy headed to Ottawa. In the short, out-of-context clip posted, I was depicted to be a violent bigot calling for an insurrection when that could be nothing further from the truth. I would like to clarify this and clear my name. When I was hypothetically stating that I would like to see a truck plow through that wall, my intent was deliberately misconstrued. In the name of inclusivity, I want to see that truck being driven by a BIPOC, disabled, trans female who is triple vaxxed and possibly of Muslim descent. Thank you.
They didn't play my apology.
For just $67, you can make
Oh,
as
shit, I
many
gotta
videos
close
as you
that.
want and you never need to pick up a camera.
Dude, so like a little bit of humor is okay here and there, right?
For sure. Morgan's looking to jump in if you want to send her an invite.
I sent her a link.
Oh, I would love that. Hey, she's here.
There she is. Look at the
Amazing.
nostalgic background.
Right.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh,
Hanging?
not too bad. I've been insulating for days and I'm done. Thank fuck.
You've been insulating?
Yeah.
But like insulating houses or like building up on carbs? What do you mean?
Like the pink fuzzy stuff that gets in your lungs and I can't bring myself to wear a mask kind of insulating.
Just on principle. Fuck you guys. I can't do
Yeah.
it. I will get asbestos and whatever else fucking happens. I will do it.
It's good for you. Make you grow the hair on your chest.
It sure will.
I hope not. I hope Jeremy's not looking forward to that when he comes out. Fucking what
Surprise!
here? This is not how I left it.
I'm gonna be jacked. I was listening in. I feel like you guys, I probably haven't gotten you up to speed on his tentative bail date that's been pushed out again. Yeah, so yeah, I guess not everybody was available for the 17th, so it's going to be he actually, I believe he has a bail review for Quebec on Monday instead of Remembrance Day. He doesn't have to go to court on Remembrance Day anymore, so that's nice.
Okay.
Thanks, government. And and then his
You think you'll get an extra peanut butter for fucking lunch?
No.
You're better in jail. Here's an extra fucking peanut butter cup or something. Like, I don't know how they're gonna deal with that. Like, are they gonna do a silent moment in jail?
I don't know. I'll let you know though. I have no idea. I've never been in jail on Remembrance Day yet.
Yeah.
Were you there for any significant days? Because I know you've done a stint.
No, because there is a day where the prisoners don't eat, but I think that's in April. I wasn't there. Thankfully.
The prisoners don't eat. What kind of special day is that? Ramadan?
No. For some type of prisoner, I don't know.
Hunger strike?
Maybe.
No,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm not sure.
Usually, if they want to get something, they'll do hunger strikes where they just stop
I suppose
eating.
Jeremy was in there for Thanksgiving though, and they did feed them a little better on Thanksgiving. That was nice. But yeah, his Saskatchewan bail review is the 25th now, so 15 more sleeps.
Aw,
Hopefully.
Thanks for the update. That's good to hear. We're all thinking about him. Pretty
Yeah, I
special
got
guy,
faith.
man.
I got faith he's going to be out soon. I do.
Oh, I think he'll get
I feel
out
like
this time
the only
around.
reason they were able to hold him the way they did right now is because of poor defense. And now when it gets brought to light what's actually going on, the exposure that he got with the inquiry, I think he'll be let out.
Yeah, I don't even know, obviously. Yeah, I'm trying not to say things I'm not supposed to say.
Yeah.
But one of the witnesses has a ridiculously long criminal history, which is really good for us.
Mhm.
Well, it's telling of the type of people that we've had to deal with. This stunt cunt is still trying to be relevant. I mean, it's too bad. He was just exposed as an incel that just was brokenhearted, over fucking that's all that took to turn him. I was watching him on a live stream. He showed his ugly face and he was talking about how he targets people. That's his addiction.
Our lawyer got in on the chat apparently for that.
I didn't see that. But he did admit to having addiction problems, and now he's also addicted to targeting people. It's kind of funny that his addiction is still going on. He's still an alcoholic. He's still targeting people. Same addictions. Poor little incel.
Yeah.
Again.
Let's see.
Brian Trache, incel.
Thank you. It's yeah, that is an interesting comment from Lee. Yeah.
Oh, there was a lot going on. These dumb cunts trying to explain themselves, much like the EAC right now. I keep calling it the EAC, the inquiry. That's what I should be calling it. And everybody's backtracking right now. These dumb cunts are trying to roll off of the media bullshit that they read from the same places like Anti-Hate and Global and whoever the fuck else decided to parrot this shit. And they're just running off. Now they're trying to have to explain themselves. Oh, yeah, no, they were really planning it. Yeah, they were planning stuff. I swear. You're fucking scrambling like a bunch of cunts. You look like idiots. now the further and further the movement hangs on to this narrative, the less credibility he has, and it's going down hard with the shit he was talking about before. I've
he
been
still
messaged
kinda-
by, I don't want to give it away, but like I've been talking to some of the Toronto 18.
Is Mubin still quiet on Twitter? I have not been following.
Oh no, he's got an active account. He started a new one, and everybody should follow that account if we could find that. Try and get it verified.
I think he's just starting to try and run away because he realizes when CSIS testifies, they have nothing to say. Like it's pretty much but he keeps saying, wait until they get up there and testify. You just wait. It's gonna be wild.
It is wild.
If Mubin is the Canadian Muslim James Bond, then I am the okay. Well, then Jeremy actually is the Canadian Osama bin Laden. Like it's such a ridiculous. He paints himself as being this fucking secret agent who's on Twitter and doing podcasts.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a fucking. I'm a spy. Spy like me. Spies aren't public. You stupid cunt. Like
one time I accused him of being like a fraud on Twitter, and then he responded like, "Yeah, I'm in Africa right now doing super secret agent stuff. What are you doing?" Like I'm in Canada being a Canadian. Like, are you seriously? Did you seriously just like? Is that your OPSEC? You just go on Twitter and say what you're up to? Just bragging about being in Africa doing super secret intelligence stuff? Like what?
The best one was when he was saying, "Yeah, this is when we're doing tracking and whacking." Is that the stories you tell your wife and your kids when you go home? It's like, yeah, we're tracking and whacking bad guys. No, you weren't. CSIS doesn't even do that. Don't pretend like that's what you were doing. That's fucking ridiculous. Tracking and whacking. You were going whacking guys off for ISIS?
Yeah, tracking his Grinder account and whacking off the guys that he met on it.
Giving a little handy.
The longer this guy talks, the fucking
guys,
worse it gets. Like, get into something. That's why he's trying to stay relevant. But he's like, yeah, see, these guys are bad. I'm gonna jump in on this, try and make some money, and with my organization.
I'm sure he thinks that he knows all of the secrets now that he's been talking to Trottier, right? He's so fucking informed now. Oh my god, Jeremy's calling from jail. Okay, I'll be back.
All right.
After that.
Yeah. This guy compared Diagalon. He said if ISIS is a 10 out of 10, Diagalon is a 7 out of 10. Which means for every let's just lay this out here. So for every 10 women that ISIS stones to death, we stone 7 women to death. For every 10 suicide bombings, we commit 7 suicide bombings.
Yeah, that's where we on a scale. Like, come on, you fucking twat. It's like widely known. I was talking to a Muslim today, no joke. He's actually, what's his name? You've probably talked to him before, Rob, the guy that used to hang out with Chris Sky. And he was talking about...
Oh, yeah, Dr. Z?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about how Mubin is a fucking giant fraud, and he set these people up. He literally just asked them to move boxes. He got them on tape, and these guys and I've done a stream on this. Like I did a RCMP and CISA stream, and I also did a CISA stream where they were targeting these guys. And I've got my own views on, religious segregation, I guess you could call it, whether or not religions should coexist together. It doesn't matter or not, but I'm still pointing out the fact that these Muslims in our community were being taken advantage of. These guys were basically half-wits. Yeah. And I don't mean them any harm by saying that, but that's what they were taking advantage of, and Movement was taking advantage of. This never would have happened if it wasn't for CSIS' involvement. Yep. And it's happened multiple times over again, and the Muslim community was targeted.
Look, what's a great comparison for this is the ATF in America. And things like Waco or Ruby Ridge, where they create the problem and then they go solve it, right? Yeah. And in the process, they murder, women and children, to fix the terror, right? Like this is what they do.
Right?
Well,
Like,
I don't know if you guys. I don't know.
I got lots of books beside me right now that go into the Secret Service in Canada and what they organize and what they've executed, and you can't deny that there's a chapter in there of how they're framing Muslims of being terrorists.
Yeah. And now it's like, look, it's the same thing they've done in America, right? Remember all throughout the 2000s and up until like 2015, the big terror scare for, America, Canada, Europe, the world really was Muslims, right? What is it now? What has it shifted to in the last 5 years?
White nationalists. This is a good one, actually. Secret Service. I've got a bunch of bookmarks in here. A few of them are probably about moving. I can open it up about, but this is a good one to grab about how the Secret Service operates in Canada, and you can call them the SS because that's basically what they are. The RCMP. Like, these people's jobs are not to stop existential threats. They're to stop internal threats, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it, and that's what they were designed for, and that's their mandate. So,
well, I don't know if you guys seen, but it came to light this morning in the Public Order Commission that whatever story they've collaborated in Coots, that the two ladies were bringing in a hockey bag full of, you know what, and they were both RCMP officers. Like, these guys were talking to two RCMP officers that they don't even know. My fucking ass. We know there's some kind of crazy.
Dude, that's fucked.
Story.
Isn't that fucked up? Like,
Dude,
who the fuck? This thing was so peaceful. Nothing was going on. Nothing was happening. Who the fuck?
And from what I understand, all of these guys are like respectful gun owners who are into hunting and sport shooting. Why would they just let two random broads, for lack of a better word, they don't even know, oh yeah, take these hockey bags and bring them in there?
It seems
like,
weird,
come on,
dude.
man.
Like, it seems set up as fuck. This is set up the same way the Toronto 18 was set up, the same way the fucking Vancouver bomber was set up. Like, there's a whole bunch of fucking stories that were set up.
I
This
wish
is the
I
first
could
time
talk.
these people have done.
I wish I could talk about this publicly so much right now, and I can't, but I can tell you that that narrative they have there is such horseshit, and I know because I know what was in those hockey bags. I know. So.
Oh, wow. That's getting some fucking dirty dirt. Somebody's going to get a subpoena soon enough. I don't know.
Here's a spoiler. It wasn't fucking guns.
Yeah.
It's so fucked, guys. Like, when you look at what actually happened, Rebel News has done coverage on this about how they violated fucking private property, construction equipment that was parked on private property. The RCMP has admitted to going over there and sabotaging it for no reason because they're willing to do whatever the fuck they can to stop this thing and they're guilty of it in the same province years prior with Ludwig Weibo and his farm property where the oil industry was drilling all around it and leaving a mess. They framed him, threw him in jail without bail because they said he blew up an oil derrick or an oil installation or had some sort of terrorist involvement in what was going on. Turns out, no, they just admitted to it. Yeah, that was us. Sorry about that. We threw him in jail and fucking without bail. You're going to find the same thing happening here in Coots. Thrown in jail without bail. They get out. And it'll just be swept under the rug because CBC won't report on it. They'll be on to the fucking Ukraine-Russian war. Or they'll be on to the monkeypox or the whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of people in the chat there were saying to put Jeremy on speakerphone for the stream. Can't do that, guys. Morgan's number will get blocked if she does that.
Yeah,
it happened to me. So, sorry, you can't.
I've wanted to do it before as well.
Also, I would like to mention, just so you guys are aware, there was a time, some of you might be familiar with this, that Pastor Artur Pawlowski called Pat King when he was in jail, and he streamed the interview the whole time, and let me tell you, it caused a lot of issues for both of them. So we got to be smarter than them with certain things, like Same with like, I'm sure there's a million people that would love to be outside protesting where Jeremy is right now. That doesn't help people on the inside, right? Like I mean, it can sometimes, but sometimes
it probably won't in this situation. Let's put it
right.
that way.
It's fair to say, like, I know it has, so I don't want to say it won't, but you don't want them to use these stupid things to their own advantage,
Yeah.
It's painful to watch the entire joke play out.
That was another one too. How funny! I caught this little bit today on the war campaign stream there of the POEC, and I thought it was hilarious. They're playing the video of Pastor Art, and he's just like, "Do you see? He's inciting them. He's galvanizing them. He's riling them up." And it's like, you mean the pastor gave an impassioned speech about freedom? Oh, they vote EMA right away. Arthur Boblowski's giving a sermon in a speech. Jesus Christ.
Isn't that kind of telling? Right? Isn't that kind of telling, though, of what your intentions are? If that's what you're against, somebody being about freedom.
Man, the people that they choose to demoralize through these courses of action are insane. Like, we're seeing the priest and things like that. Jeremy, a Canadian veteran. It's just like sunk to the lowest of the fucking low. It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's like, look, I made a meme about this today. It's like, there's been 21 days of this shit, and I still have yet to see any shred of evidence that supports the assertion that the threshold was met for invoking EM. Like, even Chrystia Freeland was it yesterday? She came out and said this, I think, and she was like, basically her argument was, look, if it wasn't for the EMA, we wouldn't have been able to break this up. That's why we needed the EMA. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's not at all how it works. It's not like, well, we don't know what else. We just don't know what else to do, so we'll invoke the Emergency Measures Act because that'll work. That's not how it works, bitch. You need to have it's like a very well-defined, actually, it's simple, right? It's like First Amendment type shit where it's just like, what are the terms again? There's like 3 different possibilities, and all of them are basically like war, natural disaster, like not protesters honking, right?
I know, right when I got off of here, or got on here with you guys, the commission was still running, and the Council for the Residents of Ottawa just put the deputy solicitor guy on there, and she just tried to put to him, she's like, this is one of the biggest threats to Canadians' democracy of what just happened in Ottawa. And I'm like, she really just said that. I didn't even have time to clip it because we were jumping on here, but I'm like, this is how beta fucking pussified Ottawa is. Sorry, Ottawa, but you know what? Yeah. Like, unbelievable, man. You remind me of Toronto. Like, what are you going to do when a real issue comes your way? Like, and I don't mean that in a bad, like, I'm not being threatening. I'm just saying, like, a fucking, life gets tough sometimes. Like, you guys are like losing your mind over the fucking honk, 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 honk. You remember that sign language? That was gold. Honk, honk,
yeah.
Honk, honk.
Yeah. We made this, Derek and I talked about this on a stream recently, and it's like, okay, look, the funny thing about this is that even if you took at face value what they said Jeremy is, what they said Pat King is, what they said, people like, Tamara Leach, like any of them, right? Or the Farfada guys, any of them. If you took it at face value, it was just like everything that they've said about these people is 100% true. They still are nowhere close to meeting the threshold for invoking. Their best case scenario still doesn't even come close to meeting the threshold for invoking the Emergency Measures Act. So it's like I don't know what they have up their sleeve here, but it can't be much. And
what needs to be said in this entire inquiry can't be forgotten is what was invoked when they invoked the Emergencies Act, and that is FinTrack. They expanded FinTrack. Was that justified? Was that an overreach? That's the real crime here, I think. That they can, do whatever they want. That's the only outcome other than dispersing the fucking protesters. Is it not? Maybe I'm fucking way off here. I don't know. Maybe that's.
But it's.
Is that not the only thing they changed?
arguably-
What else did they change? Right? Like,
That's arguably the most egregious thing that they did. Arguably.
what else did they do though? Like, what else did they benefit from that? Okay, they could invoke fucking trucker or fucking tow trucks from
No, dude, I
Chicago
think
or something. Like,
I think the reality is, like, I don't think it was about I don't think they used it to do anything nefarious. I think they were literally just scared that they had no way of stopping this without it. Like, and that's where it gets kind of weird, where it's like when they say we had no other options, I think they're actually telling the truth in a weird way. It's like that, like they didn't. Sorry, I should stipulate that with they had no other options other than negotiate and meet and talk to the protesters. Right. And that was not an option they were willing to engage in. So the only one they had left was crush them. And the only way they could crush them was the Emergency Measures Act.
Democracy is not an option.
Yeah. Right? Like, so again, it's like, did they need to? Yes. Was it justified? No. They needed it to save their own asses. Yeah. That's not a justification for using it. Right? So it's like this weird thing where it's like, yeah, it worked. They're right when they say, well, it worked. Yeah, it did. It was egregious.
See, in my opinion, things get a lot worse from here when you have Windsor, you have Coots open on the record under oath stating they didn't need the Emergency Measures Act. The province of Ontario just said that. And CSIS briefed the Liberals not to use it because it's going to make people violent. And then they go and use it the next day. Like,
yeah, I believe those protests, it's not a lack of communication because the Peace Bridge and there was 2 bridges in Ontario that were not blocked anymore. Windsor and Niagara, I think it was.
No, so there? Niagara never got blocked. And when we went there, they didn't even know. No one ever said that we were going to block it. So I'm not sure why they are putting that. There was no actual evidence of that. But the thing is not that you guys would know my area, but from St. Catharines to Fort Erie, they just shut the whole highway down and had police at every exit. They were turning you off the highway so you couldn't go down the highway that way. And then they were saying that we blockaded the highway. But the truth is you couldn't even get 30 minutes to Fort Erie. They blocked the whole highway off with all police cars and that. And then I had a video before I posted of CHCH News taking a video saying that we blocked the road down. They had their ambulance set up and they were taking a video of the ambulance and that saying they couldn't get through the road. I'm yelling at the guy, dude, our cars aren't even on the highway. We can't get on there. The police have it blocked off. They were literally, the media was staging shots, guys.
Yeah, that's something that repeats over and over throughout, all the protests that happened they admitted this today at Coots. There was always a lane open, there was almost always a lane each way open, right? Going both ways, both sides. Was it delaying traffic? Yeah. Was it halting them, blockading it? No. And you know what was blockading traffic? The cops who were blockading, Coots at Milk River. That's who was blockading traffic. It was the cops.
It wasn't an economic. It was never an economic issue because when the blockades, so to speak, started happening, they started to divert traffic, and it was never an economic issue. Never at any point. A few truckers may have had to put on a couple of extra kilometers, an extra couple of miles, different companies. Yeah, but it was never an issue. And they always kept the lanes open. And that's a big thing in what they're talking about. in the vernacular of blockade and occupation. They're trying to get these words to stick, but they're not going to because there was always a fucking lane open. I went and saw Ottawa with my own 2 eyes. I held hands with Ferry and skipped up the fucking lane that was open. Like
that's another one that's so funny to anyone that was, I was there the whole time. Every day I was down there. Okay? Every single day. I went down for at least a bit, right? I never had any issue getting in or out of downtown Ottawa, except for whenever you hit the police blockades. That's where you couldn't get through. Everywhere else, there was a lane open.
Yep.
Yeah, trucks were blocking 2 out of 3 lanes, but there was still that 3rd lane open. So nobody was having issues getting around there until they hit the police blockades. The same thing with the bridges to Gatineau, right, from Ottawa. It was the cops blocking them.
Yeah. And even like at my hotel that I was staying at one point, there was like outside the intersection, the police had their cars parked there before the red zone was established with their lights going off. So like all the traffic was like backed up down the road from the police having the intersection blocked off. And then there was like news helicopters flying over top and like taking videos of all these cars. And I'm like, yo, all you got to do is move your like police cars and then these guys can get rolling through here. And they're like, oh no, like we do checkpoints. We're slowly I'm like, oh, you're literally fucking doing this blockade right now for the fucking cameras. Like,
do you guys want
unbelievable.
Do you guys want to hear a story that's not too often been repeated since since I was in Ottawa?
Sure.
A bunch of us were leaving a hotel. I think it was me, Full Jaw Scarps, BGB. Were you with us, Ferryman? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
4 of us. I don't remember who the 4th person was. We're all leaving. We're getting in a car that was parked close. And BGB can fucking back me up on this. This fucking Ford Explorer or like.
Oh, dude, I was there. Yeah, sorry, I was there.
Yeah. Okay, that was you.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
when we left the hotel, yeah.
I'm getting out of the fucking car, or I'm getting ready to get in. This truck pulls up, and it's 4 dudes sitting there wearing tactical equipment.
No, it was 2, and then 2 came out.
Oh, did 2 come out? And fuck, I was focused. Okay, I was drunk and high at the moment, but like, okay, I'm glad we're going over this. This is the first time. Maybe you should say it because I just remember my interaction.
Well, no, I'm sure you'll remember the funny parts, but okay, the story was we're leaving the Sheraton, right? We were just at this party at the Sheraton, right? It's me, BGB. No, it wasn't Full Draw. It was BGB's buddy there. But yeah, there was 4 of us, me, you, BGB, and his buddy. We leave the Sheraton, right? My car's parked on the same street that the Sheraton is on, right? So we're like, I don't know, half a block from the Sheraton. We walk up. As soon as we get to my car, an SUV, black SUV, pulls up and like kind of like blocks my car in, right? So like, I can't, reverse out. Just kind of, and there's 2 guys sitting in the Jeep, and then as Derek, you can take over from here. But
so 2 guys pull over because, hey guys, where's the party at? Like, what? Are you guys cops? Right? Like, no, we're just looking for the party. And they have this accent. I'm like, nah, you guys are cops. Come on. Because he has a radio right there on his fucking passenger side. They're wearing tactical gear. But they have on yarmulkes, and they have the fucking Jewish curls. I don't know what you call them. The Shylocks. Right? So I'm like, what? What are you guys talking about? So I go back, and I walk to the front. I'm kind of drunk. I walk to the front. I'm like, New York. Yeah, you guys are from New York. What are you guys doing here? Oh, we're just, we're looking for where the blockades are. Like, you guys are Jews. Right? Like, I'm drunk. And I'm
that's
just
exactly how he said it, too. It was just like, just not beat around the bush at all. It was just like, and sorry, as he says this, 2 more of them come out of the hotel and walk up to the vehicle and get in. Right? Like, they basically followed us out of the hotel, and then they block us in. It was wild.
We haven't talked about that moment for fucking a long time, dude. Like, we haven't made public about that, but that really fucking happened. Like, New York plated
And
truck
they
full
all
of
had-
Jews came up as security. Like
they were all wearing a uniform, and I forget the name that was on it, but it was something security. And I
Yeah.
made a note to like, okay, remember this name so that you can look it up later. And then I looked up the name that was on their coats, and it didn't exist.
dude,
Like
that's
that was
story.
probably the weirdest thing that happened at the convoy.
That was a
Right.
forgotten memory, to be honest with you. When's the last
Yeah.
time we talked about that? I didn't even know it was you that was with me for that memory. I know BGB was there. And
Yeah,
I thought
dude,
it
I was driving.
I thought he was driving.
No, I was the only one that was sober.
Wow, dude, you remember that fucking? Yeah, that really happened. Like that fucking. What a weird situation to find yourself in. Like,
Yeah, man.
I think
It's a
we
lot of
talked
weird
about it on a
stuff.
stream after that, but nobody like so much shit happened afterwards. But that I remember being kind of drunk and friendly with them. Like, hey, yeah, why are you guys dressed like that? Like, where's the radio? Where are you guys from? Fuck, I walked to the front of the car, like, New York. What the fuck, New York? You guys, oh, you guys are Jews. like a drunken idiot. Like, because I noticed they all had curls in the fucking yarmulke thing. Like,
Yeah, that was
Just being a
weird. It was just
drunken
weird.
asshole. Like, it was fucking weird. Like, because
Oh,
they pulled up to talk to us right away. No, they must have pulled up to talk to fucking. They must have pulled up to pick up their guys, right? I don't know why they fucking.
Yeah, but dude, they pulled up to pick up their guys right in front of my car, which was like down the street, and they came out right whenever we came out. That was so weird. I don't know. Maybe it was a total coincidence, but it didn't seem like a coincidence. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know how the IDF dresses when they go to war and stuff like that, or how they are tactical. But have any of you guys ever seen someone in a yarmulke and Shylocks and a fucking bulletproof vest? It's weird. All black. I gotta say that. They all new, all black, black radio. Like, that's a true fucking
it's pretty
story.
weird. Yeah.
If you guys look back in the fucking Sheridan Hotel security cameras, because Ottawa at that time was the most fucking looked at place on earth, that video exists somewhere, guaranteed, right, Ferry? Like, it has to fucking.
Yeah, that was.
Somebody has that security video.
Oh,
that was
man.
probably the one thing that I wish I had filmed that I didn't. It happened so quickly though. I remember getting in my car and then realizing, because you were like, I was in the car, we were all in the car, and you were just standing out there talking to them. And then as you're talking to them, the other two come up, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then by the time they got in the vehicle, it was over and they'd taken off. I was like,
That
what
was
the
a
fuck
hit.
just happened?
I was done. I
Yeah.
was done. I was a friendly fucking idiot. Just fucking, what are you guys up to? Fucking, there's a party. Fucking, nah, you're from New York. Where's that accent from? Like, I was
Yeah.
just a total cunt. Like,
Oh, you were, yeah.
Ferry, did you see at the end of the day there, your buddy Paul Champ brought up a clip there with you?
I did, yeah. I mean, he didn't reference me,
Wait.
but yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was talking about, and he's like going on about how the guy is like he's a very well-known guy in Ottawa. He's a big deal there.
Yeah, he's well known because I made him infamous.
I'm just trying to watch fucking Netflix. Fuck.
Yeah, that was great too. You know, I don't know who was that on the stand that he was talking to, that he was questioning.
I think it was Paul Champ.
No, it was Paul.
No.
Paul Champ was the counsel, but who was being questioned?
Oh, what's his name? I got it right here. One sec.
But anyways, yeah, that guy handled that line of questioning well because
Mario Di Tommaso,
and who is he?
the Deputy Solicitor General of Ontario.
Okay. I thought it was funny because Paul Champ was like basically trying to corner him and like, well, how do you do this guy's voice? Well, this very well-known Ottawa resident said that, he tried to make it clear to the truckers that they were protesting in the wrong location because they were mad at provincial mandates. And then the guy's just like, yeah, but they were also mad at a federal mandate, which is exactly what I said to that guy. I was like, there's federal mandates. Like, you idiot. Like, this all stems from the tippy top. So, like, yeah, obviously people are going to come to the Capitol and protest. It's a nationwide protest against the mandates, many of which are federal.
Yeah, the commissioner fucking like snapped back at Paul Champ today. I don't know if you've seen that too. He's like, your 20 minutes is up, bud. And he's like, well, since Doug Ford isn't coming, if I could have an additional 5 or 10. And he's like, well, just because someone's not coming doesn't mean I'm giving you 10 more. And he's like, you know what? And then he's like, okay, I'll move on.
Dude, this guy is such a twat. He's doing a horrible job for himself publicly. Like, he's going to be fired after this. But you know who's going to be hired 100 times over? Sheriff Foda.
Yeah.
It's true.
This guy needs some memes. He's the fucking sheriff's in town, dude. Like,
Foda
this guy needs a little
Mercury.
badge and a fucking clock watch that extends from his fucking vest. Like, the sheriff's in town. Even walk around with a fucking gun belt, dude. Right? But put the Constitution in that holster.
It's there was a great clip going around too today. Somebody spliced together, Miller questioning Zexy Lee. And then like going into what shared services Canada is and kind of like down the rabbit hole. But my favorite part of that video is Miller's questioning is like, and so who do you work for, or what department do you work for Government of Canada? Paul Champ. Objection. What is the relevance of this? Like, he's establishing who this witness is and what they do. Like, how is that not relevant to every other person who's been brought up here? And I know she was early on, but you've done this to people, Paul. Like, and what is your affiliation? Who are you? What business did you have in Ottawa? Shut the fuck up, chump.
Yeah, it's because he's like, I don't want them to know that she's tied to the government and they
Exactly.
It. I don't want them to know that.
Exactly. That guy's such a twat.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, speaking of twats, when you guys were talking about the security footage earlier, it reminded me I'm on a bit of a mission to find security footage of our premier getting his ass handed to him last week downtown Halifax. Somebody has it. It happened outside near his office, apparently, and then he was trying to sweep it under the rug. But after I made it public, CTV came out with an article, like, I don't know, 5 hours after I wrote about it. And this was days after it actually happened. And apparently he's not pressing charges. And he tried to say the man had a gun on him. I don't believe that. And CTV was mentioning, like, what were they saying? Like, security had to step in. No, his driver had to become security. So I don't know.
So the premier of Nova Scotia just got dusted on a public street.
Yeah.
I would love to see that video.
I need to find this. I want to see
that'd
it.
be a good one to see.
Yeah. What else did I have? Also, I need
Can't blame that one on Jeremy. Fuckers.
Probably somehow. He probably has had the flag on as a cape or the.
I want to know how we can actually. Sorry to speak out of turn, but I want to know how we can subpoena that fucking footage of me and Ferry outside the Sheridan.
Yeah.
I think it's long gone, bro.
Dude, that happened though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a forgotten memory, but that fucking happened.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't the only person that saw that, but I know I was acting like a drunk idiot. But yeah, sorry to cut it.
No, it depends if they have it backed up, I guess, and get on it.
It should
though.
be there. Like, you would want to keep that sort of shit on record. I'm sure it's already
Yeah.
it's logged somewhere with CSIS or fucking the investigation. Like, there's a giant room of servers holding all of the different, because we have websites on our own. People are counterintelligence this shit. They put up websites. I forget which one it is, but you can look at a live stream the entire time the convoy was on. There's always somebody live streaming, and they keep adding it over and over again, so you can see the crisscross of different live streams.
Yeah, Not TV's done a really good job with that, Kyle. Cardinal.
What is it?
Kyle Cardinal.
Not TV. Yeah.
Not
he's on here
TV?
watching us right now. You know who else is doing a really good job? Morgan and Derek and Ferry is I don't know who this is, but there's somebody on YouTube that's going by the handle Wiretap Media or Wiretap something. They're the ones that keep putting all these videos together. It's almost like they're like doing like detective style work, and they're not saying who they are, which is kind of cool. And they're just like banging out these videos that are full of evidence, which is the Zexy Lee video you're talking about today.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Good on
Nice.
them.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see it, and I would love to promote it. If they need any help, let me know.
Yeah,
fucking
I'll just send you guys their link. I think it's called Wiretap Media.
That's where the best work comes from, is people wanting just to put it out there for the reasons they feel best to their heart. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fucking doing it. Right? There's no reason why we're not sitting here for fame or fucking dopamine hits. Like, we actually think there's a problem. You know? Like we see something that's I don't know. I'm gonna hit the washroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys notice that?
I think Rob is one of these people. I don't know. Morgan, were you doing any political activism stuff before any of this shit?
Prior to COVID, no. I mean, honestly, I get sucked into stupid, the fucking, I stand with the current things shit. I did a little bit, and I'm embarrassed, but it happened. It's part of my past.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I know other people that are like that too. And Rob, you weren't involved really in.
No, not like the kind of stuff you guys are. I used to actually. Funny story. One of the reasons I really got into this fight, I used to help the homeless out a lot in my area because I had some addiction issues that I got in front of, so that I just enjoyed helping out. And when they found out that I started No More Lockdowns Niagara, someone seen a picture of me with no mask on helping out the homeless, and I got canceled for volunteering my time with the homeless. So there were 3 nights a week where I would have a service where I would bring clothes to them, food to them. And the reason I was doing this is because I already went through City Hall. They wouldn't open a shelter, none of that shit. I took all the right measures, regional, and like the city, the region, they were all pissed at me for advocating for these people. They're like, oh, they don't need help, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Like, I just talked to a girl under the bridge who's like been trafficked for like 3 months. Like, these people have like actual issues that need to be addressed. Like, you know. And
the same happened to us in Nova Scotia. Yeah, we were essentially not welcome. We were just putting on barbecues and bringing things that they needed, and
it's crazy. And then I seen the homeless dude the one day, and he's like, hey, you didn't come back. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not, I love being there. I'm like, I didn't want to ruin the program. I didn't want to come there and, I'm going to come in with no mask anyways. I do that everywhere else. I'm not going to do that and kibosh a fucking homeless program, But anything they could do, I don't know if it was like that for you guys everywhere, but with respects to Niagara, they would just do anything to try and cancel like what we were doing, man. Like we were doing like the dumbest shit. Like I was doing a lot of those like eat-ins when there was the passports where we would like go into the mall and sit down and like respectively, like, no, we have a right to be here. And like, I'd order takeout food and then we would just sit down and eat it at the table, and they'd wait until the cops came. And I was trying to get the cops to charge me because I wanted to challenge it in court, but the police wouldn't charge me. But they would write an article about it the next day in the front page of the newspaper. Like, that's what you have for news right now, is that a dude went to the Penn Center with 10 other friends and ate lunch. Like, that's where we're at in the world right now. It was so fucked.
Everywhere around me, it was kind of a don't say nothing, won't be nothing.
Yeah.
That was I went into there for gas, for fucking everything. It's like, I'm not doing it, so let's just get this over with.
I had a kind of a cool setup with a few different places here. I was saying to them, I'm like, well, if you don't want to be a part of this, I'm like, why don't you guys put all your food for takeout? So just like, we'll have people come in and order takeout. And then if they get their food for takeout and they just go and sit down at a table and start eating it, I mean, you thought they were getting takeout and you walked into the kitchen in the back. So a lot of restaurants were actually letting people do that. So that was kind of cool that a few restaurants did that, but I don't know. What a fucked up time.
Fucking mask. I'm not doing it.
No,
Dude,
it's just
that's been one of the funniest just responses that I've seen lately from everybody has been, the mask up. Like majority of Canadians are in favor of mask, like shit like that. Just everybody's just like, no, we're not. Fuck you.
I think I wore one for I tried for a few days, and then I saw a man at Walmart. He had like an ATV helmet on with the visor down, and I fucking laughed. And I was like, this is meant. I'm not doing this anymore.
There's this kid. I posted this on my Telegram earlier tonight. There's this kid at Wilfrid Laurier, because apparently Wilfrid Laurier has mask mandates back now, right? I think there's another university that does too in Ontario. Is it Western? Yeah. So, but what this kid did was he took like a Tupperware bucket and just wore it on his head, and that qualifies as a face shield / face covering, right? So this kid's just walking around university with a bucket on his head because, and look, you got to empathize with this kid. If he doesn't wear a mask, he gets kicked out of school. He's paid thousands of dollars in tuition this semester, right? He's trying to get his education, whatever. So instead of, doing I'm not going to wear one and getting himself kicked out of school, it's like, I'm going to, and this is apparently, so I went through his Twitter. Apparently his idea is I'm going to keep coming up with ridiculous versions of masks to wear to class and to campus that qualify as a mask. This is actually, it's something that, I tried doing too, which was, I did this all the time, right? I was like, there, my T-shirt's over my face.
Yeah.
Are we safe now? We're safe now, right? Because I have my T-shirt over my face. And
I used this one for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would do this. I would put it under my chin and walk around like fucking. It's not doing it, and people would be like, "Ma'am, I don't think that you're supposed to wear that. I don't think it's doing anything."
Morgan,
and I was just like, I think it slipped.
I'm dying when I seen you do that because right when this shit first started, and I'm like, fuck, everyone's giving me a problem. The same clear workout thing, I put it under my chin here, and I would walk in the store like that, and then someone would come up to me and they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't think that's an acceptable mask," and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, all right," and I just fucking take it off and then walk around anyway.
That's the idea, right? Is so eventually in Ontario, anyways, when I was doing this, people they wouldn't let you do that anymore. And it's like. And I'd argue with them. I'd be like, what's the difference between me doing this and me putting a face? What's the difference? I actually did this one time. I had 2 T-shirts. I was like, okay, so I can't do this. If I go outside and I tie a T-shirt around my face, am I allowed in? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, you people are fucking retarded. You're literally you can't. It's almost funny watching the little NPC brains trying to work, and they're like, what?
I had an email that would I had it all laid out, all the rules and laws that they were breaking by forcing me to wear it. And if they gave me a hard time, I would just start emailing their managers and deal with it that way. And I'd be like, no, I emailed your manager all of the reasons why I'm gonna sue you if you don't shut the fuck up, basically.
You know what happened to me? Honestly,
let me get my groceries and get out of here.
I went on 3 separate occasions to go to Cabela's and I bought ammo and guns with the fucking mask on. Explain that to me. That's your fucking safety, is it? I can just fucking walk in there with a mask and a fucking yeah.
Put another one in here.
I tried to say that too the one time I was arguing with a police officer earlier on when the protests were going on, and he's like, I'm like, well, why did you guys let Black Lives Matter protest during a provincial-wide lockdown, but you're trying to stop us? And he's like, they had masks on. And I was like, go look up your protesting rights. I'm like, you're not allowed to cover your face when you're protesting. You're actually not allowed to.
Oh, interesting. I never heard
and
that.
So I was telling him that. I'm like that's
301, I think it is. There's
Yeah,
covered
it's like a
this
sign of rioting. Like when you start covering your identity, so you're actually not like technically allowed to. Obviously, they were letting people, but
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, like, I don't trust you at all. Like, what are you gonna do? Start arresting people for saying they're rioting because they got a mask on? Like,
Yeah.
trying to look that one up right now.
It's just I can't. I almost hope they bring back the mask mandates, honestly. Not because I want them back, but because I want to see. I really want to see what the compliance is like. I think I'm as interested to know what the compliance is as the government is. I think the government's wondering what they can get away with, and I kind of want to see what the government can get away with at this point.
You know what
How many people are actually going to say "fuck you, make me" this time, and just not obey it?
The funniest thing the entire time has been like masks have been mandated for so long at school, but on Halloween you can't wear them.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
What's going on?
Come on. Like, let's be real here. Like, the one day a year that you're supposed to be able to wear a mask. No, it's just not this. It's so fucked up. Like, you guys are fucking retarded. Like, okay, you can go to the cafeteria. There you can take your mask off to eat. But when you go back to the office, so you got to keep your mask on.
Dude, they were not like. I mean, it's terrible, really, when you think about it. But like the ridiculous shit that they made people do. Remember, like, I don't know if this is all provinces, but I know in Ontario, like, you know, my nieces and nephew at school, they had to wear masks, and then at lunchtime, they were allowed to take them off to eat, and they weren't allowed to talk to anyone while they were eating. Like, this is the shit that we did to kids. Like, yes, sit at the table and take your mask off. Don't you dare say a fucking word to your friends, little shit. Don't fucking dare.
Like, that's what our kids are so fucked right now. This is why I honestly think it was Sweden. I think it was Sweden. I know everybody wants to blame China. I blame Sweden because they were the only guys that didn't lock down. Now, you watch the Olympics in 2024 or 2028 or whatever it is, and those Sweden kids are going to be way better at hockey than the Canadian kids. We're going to have a shit-ass fucking team come that time. You watch.
I don't know. Will Trudeau
Mark
let
my
us
word.
play hockey at that time?
Only Patrick Brown was renting ice to fucking play hockey, wasn't he?
Every Canadian hockey player is fucking canceled at this point.
That's right. They destroyed that institution. Now, what are Canadian men supposed to fucking put their aggression into? You're not allowed to go on the ice and fight anymore?
To fucking story time with the drag queen.
Did you guys hear this one? I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a hockey player that got canceled. Like, he's on his way to the Chell, and I think he was from Boston University, and he's canceled. Like, basically, was it the university or was it his draft pick? I think it was the team that drafted him. Canceled his contract because it came to light he made fun of a black retarded kid when he was in like grade 8 or 7.
Yep.
Come on.
That's grounds for being canceled now. Is you made fun of a kid when you were 12.
One time when I was 5, I ran away from home, and like, how far are we going back with this?
Oh,
right?
I thought you were telling a serious story there for a second.
No, but like,
it's like, oh yeah, are we gonna do that too? Like, you know, little what's a good hockey, but little Connor McDavid there. Apparently, one time when he was 7, he pulled the girl's pigtail.
Yeah.
Gone, booted. You're out, misogynist. Get out of the league. Like what?
And what was the latest one with the Canadian Hockey League? What was the one that tipped it over the edge? It was some girl that got trained on by like 8 guys.
Yeah.
That was what set it
like
off,
that,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, I want to get a fucking Canadian Juniors jersey and have 8 names on the back. That's a moment in history right there. See if you can get that one customized. That girl's walking around proud.
Scored 8 goals, eh?
Right? She's fucking. That's more than one hat trick. That's almost fucking.
Oh my god, I have one of those masks.
There he is.
Okay, like the girl, she even gave consent. She's on fucking video giving consent. Nobody denies that there's puck bunnies out there.
I do. There's no such thing.
Get the fuck out. Like, there's guys that were in like juniors or even less than that, where there was like girls hanging out outside. Like,
It's so funny to see you come on with your mask because I'm like, I can't wait to see what my Antifa regional counselor posts tomorrow.
I can't rock it like Ferry can. Oh yes.
There you go.
intellectual snowmobiler.
Did you guys notice Philip's little friend over there? Nobody wrote in the comments. I'm so sad.
Philip's friend. What do you mean? Where? What are we talking
He
about?
has a little friend beside him. Meet Phyllis.
No. What happened?
So
what
wait,
did you
listen.
do, Phillip?
I know. Listen to this. That was Kimberly Tara brought it to the Halloween party. But like, look at the size different. Like, poor
Oh
Phyllis.
my goodness.
My
yeah,
God.
I understand why that little white goat screams like that with the big black goat.
I think I heard that sound in the middle of the night last night. I don't look over here.
See, sis is like sitting on here right now. New goat in the family.
That's a good look, Ferry.
Thank you.
Jesus. I need a dream interpreter.
I got you.
All right, so I had a dream. I haven't.
Hey,
I
if
haven't
there's
really
one thing
been,
I know is dream interpreting. If I'm an expert on anything, I know good dream interpreting.
Okay. Well, I need help. So the
I
other
got
night, for one thing, I'm not used to working this hard. I've been working a desk job for years, and so this manual labor thing is like, whew, I am fucking tired at the end of the day. And I haven't even been smoking weed, and it's been giving me like I dream a lot more now, I find.
Yep.
And so I had a dream that I was at I believe like an outdoor wedding or some type of outdoor event, and everyone was dressed up, and I saw Jeremy. He was like kind of, I don't know, like we'll say 50 feet away, but I couldn't communicate with him, and it was fucking driving me crazy. And I was wearing like this super bright yellow dress that was like, look at me, you know what I mean? But I couldn't even make eye contact with him. And I was telling him about the dream, and he was like, fuck off. He was like, I've had this dream before, but he didn't know it, not about me, but about a woman in a yellow dress. And he was like, yeah, it was like at a summery, like outdoor event. I was like, get fuck off. What is happening? Like, it was like when we were explaining it, and even when he was describing the dress, it was like exactly what I was wearing, like kind of knee length with like shoulder, like the shoulders were low, and it was like bright yellow dress. So
I
yeah,
can
I don't know.
I can speak with authority on this.
All right, let's hear
All
it.
right. First of all,
Horny.
now, first of all, it's the lack of smoking weed. This happens to everybody, especially when you go to jail and you don't have access to any drugs or anything like that. So if you've also been working a physical job, it means you're also getting more REM sleep. Right?
Ooh, I should check my Fitbit for that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've been used to sitting in a cubicle smoking weed to carry on just like a normal fucking zombie drone, and now you're getting out there and being physical and not smoking weed, you're getting now the best sleep you've ever had in your life, and you're being able to connect with Jeremy on a fucking what would be on a different plane. And I'm not even kidding, because when I went to jail and I got clean of everything, with even tobacco, you started dreaming every single day. Apple juice apparently has a play in that as well, but you dream every single day. And the idea that you guys could connect on that level, that's fucking, yeah, I believe that sort of shit can happen. It's unexplained. It's some Avatar sort of shit that way, that we're all fucking connected.
Yeah, I think we are too. We've both been having really strange coincidences. I wish I could remember the ones he was telling me about tonight. But for me, I find like whenever I think about someone, I swear to God, this happens all the time. I'll think about someone and then they like text me immediately after, and I'm like, it's happening way too often.
Yeah, that is a when you stop smoking weed, that's a big thing with your dreaming.
Yeah, I used to dream a ton when I was younger, before 13, whenever I started smoking weed. A long time ago.
Back when I was 6.
Yeah. There's not much to do on Graham and Ann, okay?
Yep. But yeah, when I was in jail, I was dreaming quite often, and I had some fucked up dreams. One of them specifically, I have two that I can specifically talk about. One was where me and the trailer park boys met up, and we had to get to the top of this mountain, and the only way we could do it is get on these cats. They were like battle cats, like He-Man had, and we were fucking me and the trailer park boys were riding up these fucking battle cats up the side of this mountain. A lot of other shit happened, but that's the one thing that fucking stuck out in that dream. The other one was being chased through a mall by these clowns at McDonald's that were they were like rides that you could put quarters into, but then they came to life and they started chasing us through the mall. That was kind of a freaky dream. I don't know what that one meant. But yeah,
I had a friend who like smoked salvia one time, and she said she was fucking laughing the whole time too, and she said the whole ceiling was just covered in cats, and there was like a mother cat in the middle.
That salvia stuff's crazy. I remember smoking that in high school, and like I was
I
more
can't believe
cooked on that
it was
than, like,
legal.
I
when I
know,
smoked
right?
it.
okay,
Yeah.
so like, is the real salvia a certain chemical organization? I don't know how to chemical
no, it's just a
compromisation.
plant.
So, because I bought salvia at like the Hasty Market next door where I used to live in Brampton, and I smoked it, and I it was funny. We actually gave it to another guy. He thought it was going to be weed, and he smoked a bowl, and the same thing happened to him. But the guy, I smoked it, and then all of a sudden you go into this weird trance where you can't control anything. And the guys on Star Trek were actually talking to each other than me. They were like asking me questions, and I got really fucking weird. But then when I started to snap out of it, it was like you're pushing away, trying to get away with something. And I've watched a fucking video on this before with guys smoking salvia. There's one where a guy pushes himself away in the same manner, but he goes out the window by accident.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
if you guys look that up, smoking salvia.
You need a
there's fucking-
babysitter. Yeah, like they were very adamant that only one
there was a
person
funny
smokes at a
fucking-
time.
There's a dude who has a YouTube channel, and it's funny as shit. He's like, "Hey, guess what it's like gardening on salvia?" And he smokes a bowl, and he just fucking passes out. And he's like, "Hey, guess what it's like fucking doing hopscotch on salvia?" He smokes a bowl, just passes out. He's like, guess what it's like doing dishes on salvia? Smokes a bowl, passes out. And like his video, it's fucking hilarious because like the same thing happens each time. He's like, "Yeah, guess what it's," and he's wearing the outfit to do it, but he smokes salvia and just fucking.
Yeah, it's a crazy, like my friend, I took videos of everyone who smoked it that night, and a friend of mine, his voice changed, like it went way deeper. He was like, "You guys drugged me," and we were like, "No, you just smoked salvia." And then he said that he felt like his head was an onion and layers kept peeling off, and he was really starting to panic because there was not going to be anything left of his head, and. And I just felt like I fight everything, so I always have a terrible time. I don't trip well. I think it's like a control thing, whatever. But I did feel like I forgot I smoked it, and I thought we were trying to get downtown, and I felt really bad because I thought I was too fucked up so that we couldn't go downtown because I was too fucked up. And I kept like I was kind of like doing this, like getting smaller and smaller, and I felt like the room was closing in, like I was taking up too much space or the walls were closing in. But other than that, like I didn't really go with the trip at all, so I didn't have as good of a time.
Apparently, this has become the Drunken on Drugs Happy Fun Time Hour.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to check out, though, guys.
Yeah, you look tired.
Unless there's anything else.
No, I was gonna bring up one more thing. Maybe I'll bring it up quick, and you can give me what you think, Ferry. Best case scenario. Well, not best case, but what do you think could, in a perfect world, come from this fucking emergency inquiry? Because a lot of shit's getting out there. I'll tell you what I think. I think the best thing that's going to happen is just people are going to see the government's fucked and they're absolutely drunk on power, and that's probably it. I would like to see more, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Like,
Oh fuck, I gotta go. Jeremy's calling. Wait, I'm gonna double check because I have a couple people that call me from jail. It's really odd for him to call 2 times in a row. I made friends in there.
I don't know. I would say the best case scenario for this EMA inquiry is that Justice Rouleau is actually, honest and because he's the one who's going to rule on this, right?
yeah.
Right, and he's going to give his opinion on it eventually. I don't know. From what I've seen, he's been fair and oftentimes it almost seems like he's impressed with the arguments that are being made against. He doesn't seem biased. That doesn't mean shit. He can act unbiased the entire inquiry and then just be like, yeah, it was totally justified, and then just leave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This is his legacy. Nobody knew who he was before this. He's had an entire career prior, and now this is his legacy that he's going to leave behind. This is interesting because he's not hoping for a job after this. You don't go anywhere after this, move up at his age, whatever else. It's time to retire. So this is your legacy, dude.
Yeah. And a lot of people, started with the we all have our, he's linked to the liberals somehow and everything, which is true. But what if maybe I know a lot of people who are liberal supporters and liberals, and they're disgusted in how they've changed. It'd be nice to see him call it for what it is at the end. And,
that I would say is the best case scenario is this guy just goes yeah, there's no way that this was justified. And he can because obviously he's going to give opinions and how he came to that decision. And he can preface that by saying, look, Greg Wycliffe kind of got at this point, and I think it's probably a correct one, which is I wouldn't be surprised if Rouleau says something along the lines of the threshold for invoking the Emergency Measures Act was not met. However, there was no other suitable legislation that would have allowed the government to clear these protests, which were, he could say something along the lines of illegal or relentless or, however he chooses to frame it. But he could basically say look, it wasn't met, but it was necessary. Did you get what I mean? Like a foot in each camp where he's like, it wasn't justified, but at the same point, I don't see how else the government could have, dealt with these protests because they showed no signs of relenting. And there was no other legislation that was available to any level of government that was suitable for stopping this. So that would be my guess as to what is going to happen. The best case scenario is he goes, yeah, it wasn't justified. This is insane. This is a massive power grab. This can never happen again. And there needs to be I don't know what he can recommend in terms of recourse, but if he said something along the lines of people need to be brought to account for this egregious abuse of power. That's obviously the best case scenario. I don't think that's going to happen, but
I don't see that happening.
No, but it's
always say it wasn't justified, and that's it. That's all it is. Oops, sorry.
All right, I want to finish this. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say maybe possibly they could try and pressure Jagmeet to pull an election. That's the only way Justin Trudeau is still holding power, but that's not going to happen because if Jagmeet pulls an election, that means he doesn't have a salary anymore. So he's not going to do it. All he can do is Jagmeet's basically the peanut gallery now.
Yeah. I just wanted to end this, guys. I know Ferry and Derek aren't going to sit here and beg you for this, guys, but tomorrow's Remembrance Day. Jeremy's in jail. Guys, I think it would be a really, really nice gesture, present from the community, from Diagalon, if you guys, even if it's $5, $10, if you could give a donation, it's givesendgo.com/Jeremy McKenzie. I see that some money starting to establish there. And for someone who's in the amount of trouble he's in, I promise you that guy's lawyer bill is going to be over $100,000. So I promise you that. So please, guys, if you have an extra couple bucks, the link's up there. I'm going to leave it for a minute here if you want to take some screenshots or a picture of it. And
me and
Ferry and Derek,
we've been doing the same thing.
I know you have. Yeah,
raised I think close to 3,000 for him. I think.
Yeah,
and the reason we're doing that is because we think he's innocent.
Yeah,
I know. I shouldn't say that, but
no,
I'm pretty sure that he is innocent, particularly on the crimes that he's been accused of in Saskatchewan, because I was fucking there that night. So, just saying.
Yeah. And I'm getting new to this whole streaming thing on YouTube, guys, but I'm going to try and pick a night and come on here and do this too. And I'm going to do the same thing for a while, just try and get this money sent to Jeremy too. So,
well, you got to come and join us
that
on our stream again. Maybe Friday nights. Ferry, you got to be hooking me up with Factor Fairy Tale for tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'll try for sure. And I was thinking, like, look, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, I know kind of what I'm doing for work tomorrow, but I think I'm probably gonna be done around noon. I was thinking of my time, anyways. I was probably gonna fire up a Telegram stream around 12:31 my time, which is like 3 Eastern, after all the ceremonies have wrapped up, and try to get some of the V4F guys or other vets onto the chat. I was going to mention that to you too, Derek. I mean, we can just talk about it now. Do you want to try to line up some V4F guys for tomorrow night? Could reach out to James Formosa. And
I saw a stream that was happening between Jake Spinney and Northern Nothing. Yeah, so maybe we can amalgamate the two streams, bring them into a bigger one. That yeah, I would enjoy that. BGB was talking about hooking up tomorrow as well. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll keep in touch. And I'm always here for you. You guys are always here for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And bottom line, Diagalon's a beautiful community that's done a lot of good things for people, and I just kind of wanted to clarify that on my channels. And I can't believe they didn't kick us off Facebook. That's pretty incredible. So we're good. But yeah. Okay, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay.